Hello, my name's Andy Law. Welcome to my living room where I play LAWhammer with my pals. Hello. Ah, man. It's been quite the week this week. I'm really glad to just be sitting down with some chums, because we've got to use that word from the 80s every once in a while, to play a little bit of games with my pals. So we're just going to dive straight in this week because a certain somebody wasn't here last week, which means his XP is going to be done separately, 130, if you haven't already attached that to your sheet.
I got a message from you.
Yes, you did. Superb.
Is this an extra 130 on top of that?
It's not an extra 130 on top of that.
Jot it down. I'll fix it
Just
later.
for you. As for everybody else, I won't give a complete summary of what occurred last week, primarily because I don't think you know, do you?
Nope.
But loosely speaking, they got out. And some things happened when they got out.
Yep,
Yeah. That'll do.
everything was
Things
fine.
are
we good with
usually
that? It's also fair to say that there are now 1, 2, maybe 3 people around this table with only 0 fate points.
Yeah. I've got
Good times!
my special one for other people, but it's not mine.
So on that, how well did we do?
I should have tied that rope tighter.
There is one thing that did not turn out very well, but that wasn't on your heads. It was on his.
Nice.
Literally.
Yeah.
And there was another thing that turned out pretty well. And overall, again, I'm being generally loose here so that we don't tell them what happened. It turned out pretty good.
The person came and did the thing.
Yeah.
He did the thing.
The things that went really wrong were really in the hands of other people to a
People
degree.
who should know
So,
better.
regardless of how this may sound, everybody gets 110 except for Andy, who gets 45.
Yes, Andy.
He just gave himself XP.
Yeah.
For reasons.
I already forgot what was that? 110.
110, yeah. Quite.
I think I've upset Sigmar more than...
No, how could you? You're a prophet, aren't you? A prophet, because someone's made a career change.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
It's very rare that we're getting career changes at the moment. You're moving over to
Profit.
Prophet. Are you picking up the talent as well?
I am indeed.
He can. Sigmar can now literally speak through him without anybody having to ask him questions, which means that he no longer needs to rely upon everyone else to say something like, "Hey, Andy, that thing we desperately want to know about."
To be fair, that could happen before as well.
Yeah,
The
if
difference is-
I did it.
Yeah. No, but also, yeah, as a GM, but not necessarily as an NPC. It could just also be Sigma.
So can you now internally speak with Sigmar and have him answer?
I'd love it.
He doesn't even need to do that
Swap
part, but at any point he can do a prayer test, and if he succeeds, he will spout some prophecy direct from Sigmar, from his special Sigmar phone. Good times. So
God, that sounds so
Is it
dangerous.
prophecy related to our current situation? Was it
it
just
is
generic?
related, and if he crits, he understands how it's related.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise,
That
it's
is
just
an
gibberish.
important distinction.
That is indeed a very important distinction and additional fact to on
So
top.
we're not going to get recipes from Sigmar or
Yeah.
I mean,
favourite films.
We will find out when he uses the talent for the first time.
And lo, he did bring us melted cheese.
The number of facts that he gets about his prophecy equals his prophecy talent.
And I can only do it once per section. So
Yeah, much like the other one.
But
Cool.
do you still have the ability to do the
I can still do the
Yes, he can still do it. So he's now basically got 2 that he can drop on, which is quite fun. One which is a question, and one that he can just go, I fucking want to know about this. Give us my prophecy, Sigmar. Give it to me, Sky Daddy.
You wouldn't
and
be
we'll see
so
what happens.
to swear like that, would you, Andy?
No fucking way.
Exactly. Grown-ass stream for grown-ass adults. And with that now firmly put in place, we also have, given that everybody's here, our birthday present.
Oh.
Because we did have our second birthday.
We did.
And
you just said, yeah.
Our second birthday, and when Sotek was here, and having discussed it with said Sotek, you all give 1 fate point.
Yes!
Hallelujah.
That was worth having
You're
to
the
deal with Sotek.
So say thanks to Sotek.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sotek.
It was worth Sotek not drinking my tap water. A grievous insult in Scotland when asking for bottles.
He wouldn't get. Oh, get the fuck.
I know.
Scottish tap water, man.
We all
Now,
told him, poor guy. He just kept on getting told. People like, you can drink the tap water. He's like, I know.
Well, the worst thing was I brought him the Highland Spring, which literally comes from the same reservoir as tap water.
Yeah, I requested that.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
request. Just so he would definitely definitely get tap water.
Yeah, tap.
Just in a bottle.
Superb. Right, so.
We're not petty.
We love you.
We're not
Frederick.
petty.
We love you.
Thank you for
Petty.
my fate point.
I'm petty.
So, fate
Yeah,
point
we know.
recorded. Other pieces recorded. Do we have any short-term ambitions that we would like to either resolve, having finished them, or alternatively, change to?
We believe that we achieved.
Okay, what's your argument?
Well,
Here
I'd
we go.
like Ed to deliver the argument. I'll deliver it on his behalf if I am his nurse. I believe that Dr. Gerhardt
Uh-huh.
delivered the
Oh, right.
Emperor back to the Imperial Palace from the hell of his mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
I
you
like that.
specifically did define as him being trapped in
Yes.
himself. Ergo, not in the palace, but he is in himself.
Exactly.
And becoming out of oneself.
Some people even
That's
say
returning.
that when you're in some kind of coma, you're actually in etheric hell.
I agree.
So
Etheric hell.
spiritually,
Yeah.
you've delivered him back to the palace.
You're welcome.
That's my argument,
Is that our
Nurse
party's
Alan
short-term
Wife, on
ambition?
behalf
Yeah,
of Dr.
Yeah,
Gerhardt.
I agree.
Well,
Thanks.
well. I'll give you 50 all.
Oh,
50. I like it.
Yay.
Well,
Okay, so anyone got a personal short-term ambition, or are we ready to change? What's our party short-term ambition going to become?
you didn't think that far, did you?
I did. Other
We didn't
people-
think he'd go for it.
Originally, we had it as find out if the Trots were behind the attack. Have we answered that already?
You have not.
We have
So why
not.
not just go back to that?
Yeah.
Good one. Good one. Find out. Good.
And as short-term ambitions go, I might find out this session if I'm going to achieve mine, because it's to recover Gerhold and meat pie.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I've no need for a change.
Mine is that person we talked about who was behind all the.
Yes.
I'll find out who they are.
Sounds good.
Mine is find out if Fretcher and the Barge are safe, which I'm still trying to do.
Yep. Sounds good.
Grey magic spell.
Of course. Yeah. Good luck.
Mine
I beg
mine
you.
was convinced the North to side with Null, which I don't really think is relevant anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything related to my new band of fanatical followers that might be inappropriate. You know.
Ditch them. Ditch
Ditch
the weirdo losers.
and not get pelted with tomatoes.
And yes, for anyone who noted, just out there, Leopold does indeed have ginger hair now in his picture.
Oh, does he?
Oh.
Wait, was that you in the picture? No.
Yeah.
No, no.
Oh,
no.
it's in the.
Yeah, the thingy.
In the
Oh,
little
alright.
portrait.
Yeah, nice.
Think you're one of me?
Yeah, that's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
But it always happened. Lupo's always had ginger hair.
That's our word, man.
You can't
Can't use that.
Only a ginger can call a ginger ginger.
Yeah.
That's too much.
So, if we're all done there, are you ready, Andy, to see what's happening inside the rookery this week?
I'm still wrestling with a short-term ambition, but yeah.
So, while you wrestle, say what's
Hair dye.
coming this fine week on Inside the
Who do
Rookery.
we have? We have Mobius from
Yes,
Elliot
we do.
Games. Mobius, it's quite a nice like triptych alongside Quartermaster's Cash you went before, and then Chris from Bastionland last week. There's another one with lots of useful tips for sort of GMs and DMs particularly, although also players. What Mobius does a lot of is making like tables and like gaming aids and like random generators and things like that, and there's like so many of them available. My favourite one I found so far is a random cheese generator, which is exactly what you need. So yeah, he's going to be coming on talking about those kind of things. So yeah, come on, join us.
Excellent. Yeah, that should be a good one. Who doesn't like to have a random table to determine exactly what happens concerning an event during the game? Not that happened last week, and it made me laugh so much because I didn't expect it to occur. So, with that already and done, are we good to go? Unless anyone wants to bring anything up.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Okay.
Let's rock and roll.
I think it's time for episode, is it 64 already?
Yeah.
64. 64, 8 times 8.
Oh, come on now.
It's not. It's not.
No, I've checked on my calculator. You're correct.
Supernumerary, I can do that.
So, with that, I think we should dive into episode 64 then. pain lances through Elrich's head. And his senses are, to begin with, a complete mix and muddle of different sensations. His eyes are shut, gummed shut. And he feels constrained, as if he's held in place. But his senses, his wider senses, are already playing. And there is a deep well of gyrin spilling around inside his body, spinning, swirling, and pushing out through his entire etheric system. It's feeding him, keeping him alive. He feels weak. He tries to cough, and liquid spills down his face.
He's done to me.
It's enough to cause his entire chest to shift. And as his chest moves, he realizes he's not constrained. He's just been tucked in tight. Off towards the side of the room where he is comes a voice. Is that you awake then?
I think so.
As your hand struggles. Oh, you feel weak. Your voice is weak. And also, it's difficult to speak because it's like there's liquid in your throat, but there's not. Because there's gyrin spilled down, but it's not physical. There's no actual water there, but it's got a dampness to it that you can't escape. Makes you feel like your lungs are almost filled, but not quite. As you, again, half cough around your words. And suddenly, a slap across the face.
Imperial medicine at its finest.
Who?
As your eyes pop open and they're gummed up quite badly. Sleepy bulbs. So much of
been
it,
at me.
so much of it gummed up into your eyelashes as your eyes squint and empirical light hits for the first time beyond your etherical senses. And it's too bright to begin with. And then you begin to realize that there's a shaft of light coming in from the window. And the light itself is filled through with different color because it's from a stained glass window. The stained glass, he can't quite make out from his angle, but he's in a very big bed.
And tucked in, incredible.
He's a big guy. He's quite the chunk. As he looks around and yeah, it's big and four postered at that, and over him is Talther Grunfeld of the Jade Order. Someone he's not seen for some time. Family. As he looks down at you. You dead then?
Not anymore. Out of character really quickly.
Yes.
Who was it who was down in the base in the clone?
So that was Talther Grunfeld.
No, was it Toctor?
It's Talther.
That's not what we said in the stream,
I
was
said
it?
Erwin in the stream.
Yeah, because Toctor's his granny.
Yes,
No,
who
his-
is the matriarch of the
Yeah.
college, and she claimed to be the matriarch. But
The
she
lady
called
from-
herself Erwin.
But he know, like,
Yeah, oh yeah, he knows that's wrong. So he's just not convinced of what's what.
where's Toctor?
He says, charmed. He looks at you,
No,
what do you want to be speaking to Ma for?
she's dead. She was taken.
And he puts his hand on your forehead. Slap.
It's not going to change the fact that she's dead.
He says, are you all right? He says in a very Reiklander fashion. You are currently in the palace. He says, where the walls have ears.
Maybe I'm just delirious.
I've been told you've got friends.
Acquaintances.
He says, that's what they said.
No,
The short one. Acquaintance, she said.
there's only one.
Begrudgingly.
Are they here?
He says, well, they were for the first few days. Then they got bored.
How many days have I been asleep?
That makes, having counted it all in his fingers, 17.
Fuck.
Says, no, it was pretty lonely.
No, I need to.
I understand. He says, you hungry? Nope. Your belly's full. In fact, you need a piss. Your bedpan's there, don't worry about it. He says, I'll go find one of your friends. There's bound to be one somewhere.
Right.
He goes out and you hear on the outside. He says, get out of my way. Silence, witch. He folds his arms. Well, get me a fucking escort then.
Who can he see? Crane the neck.
Looks like a knight. You're not sure of the order because you don't know the orders very well. But definitely a knight.
But none of the orders that he's had dealings with has ever referred to him as a witch before.
Nope. Not in such blunt terms.
No.
There's a wait as he sits there. Fucking hell. Fucking hells. Fucking hells. Fuck. Until eventually a Sigmarite arrives in long black robes. Come with me, filth. And they're taking off.
What have you all done?
I love how you
This is
assume it was
You're
us.
not going to believe it.
It all goes quiet. And in the quiet of the room, you can hear outside shouts and calls, screams and shouts and calls and crowds, most certainly. You're not even sure where you are, but at least you're not underground.
Can he attempt to try and get out of the bed?
Yeah. Well, he's wearing a white bed shirt. It goes right down to his knees as he pads over towards the window. Stained glass, Sigmar across it, and bars up, and parchments sit across it, all of them sealed in place. Death to the witches. And prayers. The second prayer, the dirge of witch killing.
Smiling just because I'm horrified.
Outside, you can hear the shouts, and then a surge of actually spills across your vision that lies beyond the light that's there. You can't see it empirically, but a surge of it goes, and then a great swash comes out from it and hits it in the sky. Something is happening out there. You're pretty convinced you're in Altdorf. Or in one of the cities, but with that much magic going away somewhere, it's probably Altdorf. Your encounter. Princess Ume. You've been held now in the palace for just over 2 weeks. The Emperor has not woken in all of that time. It has been a difficult time, largely because the entire city has been in a state of uprising. Mostly against the colleges. And Midlanders. And sometimes Ostlanders because they look like Midlanders. And sometimes Talabotlanders because they look like Midlanders. In fact, anyone who's not a Reichtlander is often targeted. Outsiders are awful. To a degree, you're kind of happy that you've been, mostly, in the palace.
Oh no, I've been held here.
There is a bit of that. Just a wee bit. As 3 Sigmarites arrive with the tall, dark-haired wizard that you know have been looking after Elrich. You've been to see Elrich multiple times. He's been unconscious. The wizard told you that he'd be able to keep him alive. Your head still throbs a bit. The wounds have gone, and the paint covers most of the lightning scar on your forehead, but not completely. Turn your head, and you can see it reflected as like a lightning sheen across your forehead and your temples. But powder it up. Yeah, it could be. It's mostly fine. As he says, Can I speak? No. And the Sigmarite says, the witch is awake. We will escort you back to your college, filth. All right, then. He says, I'm going back to my college. Silence!
Thank you.
You have no similar escort.
Cool.
You don't need one, because you're an entirely innocent person who would never be caught doing magic or crazy weird stuff.
No.
Definitely not. And you make your way over to...
She'll walk until she's around the corner and then she'll just like power walk.
Assuming that he's still in the same place. And yes, he is. On the outside, 2 knights and 2 Sigmarites. Their hammers held in hands, gripping tightly. As one of the knights says, "Oh, Your Royal Highness, I do believe that your friend has woken up." There's a growl from his side. "Oh, shut up.
Yes,
Don't talk to me
I've
like
heard.
that." Says, "Sorry." "Shut up."
Yeah, thank you.
And he pushes the door. Behind you, the door opens. "For goodness sake, get a grip of yourself." As the door then shuts, and the Sigmarite says, "Shut up." Things are going well here in the palace.
Not tense at all.
Princess Umi has arrived.
Elrich!
Sorry, 17 days.
Yeah.
She's back to being dressed as Nipponese princess again.
Was she dressed differently?
Well, when you went down underneath, she was dressed as a Skaven slave.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, quite.
But you all smelled very authentic. Too.
What's happening? What happened?
Oh,
Why is there a battle outside?
it's a long story. The short of it is, we met Thyros Gorman, and he got
Prick.
a little bit overexcited.
Why?
I think we should call the others, and we'll tell you the whole story.
She sits nervously as word is then sent out to the cell where Father Leopold is currently holding his own personal little prayer court. Over to the Knights Panther, of which there are some 500 members of your order here. They bought their way in to the Imperial Palace
That's my boys.
and have been guarding the princess, whom they have effectively bought and intend to go up. And it's common talk amongst the order. They intend to go up to Middenheim and free themselves from what they consider to be the servitude the Grand Master has thrust them under to the Togbringers in the north. They're basically going to use the princess as a bargaining chip to free themselves. There's a few knights, though, all of whom carry the crown. It's like, will work. Bloody will work. And they have spent, according to rumour, over 1 million crowns to purchase her. Apparently. Whether that's true or not, you don't know. You have, however, been caught up in their whirlpool. Alamenawaith, who has been similarly caught up in that whirlpool, but on the inside of it, with the princess, who is pretty much very upset with, broadly speaking, the entire situation, because she's stuck. Utterly stuck. Nothing she can do, and not only that, the Knights Panther currently can't get out the palace either, because it's been on lockdown until the Emperor gives order, by the order of the Reichsmarshal, who is currently not in the palace, which means that they have to send out order to where he is, wait 2 days, and then for it to come back 2 days later as to whether they're allowed to let anyone out. She has written, so far, 12 letters to the Reichsmarshal. Any other letters apparently aren't being sent out. She has attempted to persuade, bribe, or otherwise cajole the Knights Panther into sending messages themselves out from the city, but they're similarly stuck inside the palace. Or have no interest in their prisoner having any communication with her family. You, however, are not bound up in that and that you can leave, unlike her, trapped in her little royal apartment at the side of the palace. Gerhardt, you have been, amongst others, tending the Emperor, who has, as of yet, gone no further than a mere grumble and a moan, so ill has he been. The brain fever that he had been under has been administered to by the primary doctor. Here, your ex-master,
Oh, cool. She is here.
Dr. Flaster, who got summoned up and has been tending alongside you on the Emperor, as well as several other doctors, half of whom are noble, all of whom think that they've got the right of it, and Dr. Flaster, who, as you know, puts up with no nonsense. He's not in a very good state. His body is clearly palsied and he's weak. And there was some real concern about a week and a half ago as to whether he'd even make it. But the swellings are down, and at the point when you get told that Elrich has awoken, he's visibly, at least, not that ill. He's not woken up in any realistic sense, but his fever's down, the delusions and the raving have come to an end, and the swelling is pretty much gone. He isn't awake, but he's otherwise relatively healthy. Most of the conversations have been around whether he is going to mentally survive this, because it's quite possible that whatever he's been through will break his mind. And nobody will be aware until he wakes up, which means that only the doctors and a few choice members of court have been allowed in.
Interesting. So, mind medicine, which we've talked about in the past.
I never saw somebody who could help me with mind medicine.
Yeah, you're a religious cult leader now, mate. I'm not just new at all.
What's the other version of you? So,
But eventually, we all gather in Elrich's room, passing by the two knights who are, largely indifferent towards the witch that they're currently protecting. As far as they're concerned, they'll be fine. One who is very common born, and the knights just dislike and have been ribbing constantly the entire time that you've been passing by.
The Sigmarite.
The Sigmarite, yes, are constantly ribbing him. They just don't like him. And the Sigmarite on the other side, who just doesn't say anything. But they are, as you know, Elric's escorts. He's not allowed to go anywhere without them. By order.
Of
The Reichsmarshal.
all right.
that guy.
Well, where's it in the letter?
Hi, everyone. What the fuck?
Did everyone else get interviewed as witnesses like Alaminoith did afterwards, or was it just Alaminoith?
Just Alaminoith.
Great.
Ume, by the way, was like, I passed out, so I'm not really sure what happened. But I did come and visit you, and I was writing these stories. Maybe you heard it. Is it true that people can hear when they're passed out, like what the people are reading to them?
Maybe. I didn't hear anything.
Well, maybe for the best.
The Jade Magic has certainly had an effect.
Slash Vic.
It's been almost 25 minutes since he woke up, but his upright erection has yet to die down. The amount of Jade Magic flooding through him is high. And in his big loose robe, it's like, oh dear, maybe sit down.
No, it's just an optical,
something happy ending.
it's an optical illusion. It's just a weave.
Just stand in front
Completely.
of the window, silhouetted. Just own it.
Just slash the page.
Did you say own or bone?
Own it.
Okay.
What's going on over there?
As I told Sir Dorian of the Knights, the Reichsguard, who interviewed me about the events that occurred in the Imperial sick room, there was an attack upon the Emperor. They went through this entity went through those of attending the Emperor, the doctor, the priest, Her Royal Highness, and Her Ladyship. But ultimately, we believe that the demonic entity was there to attack the Emperor.
Yeah, it was so strong.
If only because the good doctor was the only one who knew the cure for the Emperor's illness. A murder by action, if not direct action.
Jeff, I was going to scroll on some paper. She's speaking. This is weird. Are you speaking like this on purpose, or is this a new thing for you? Right. Yeah. Cool.
So
And then, thankfully, the Supreme Patriarch was brought by Lord Magister Emmanuel Ferrand to protect the Emperor. But unfortunately, it appeared that the ruinous powers had some terrible trick up their sleeve, and it appeared to those in the High Temple of Sigmar that in his attempt to dispel the demonic entity, the Supreme Patriarch appeared to unleash fire upon the temple, the Cathedral of Sigmar, the High Cathedral of Sigmar. As I told,
Eric's like, oh dear.
as I told the Sir Knight,
It was awesome.
I am not
saved our lives.
schooled in magic. It is not my gift to be as knowledgeable in the law as you, and as you were not there, I could not speak to the veracity of the newsprint's claims that the Supreme Patriarch had indeed laid waste to the High Cathedral of Sigmar. And so our testimony, for I spoke on everyone's behalf, for they were all unconscious, was that we could not say
After you fell.
one way or another whether the Supreme Patriarch had committed such an act, but what we could say was that he in his heart believed that he was doing everything in that room in the service of the Emperor to protect the Empire, as were we. And I swore that to the knight. My people know I'm here, and they sent for me. They demanded that the palace release me, but I begged Dorian not to send me forth. To go would mean my death.
So the Emperor is alive. Where's
Yes.
Gorman?
He retreated to the college.
Okay. So what's happening outside? There's
Well, Altdorf is rioting, of course. It is. What day is it?
Day 17.
It's a thing.
Day 17.
Day that
The
ends
big
in
brother
attack.
Altdorf.
It's a day that ends in a tag. Altdorf is rioting. Altdorf's rioting, but it's bad.
Oh.
is it everyone versus the colleges, or is it everyone versus the
It's-
Bright College?
Everyone versus the witches
Which
and a bit of Middenheim.
And basically anyone who isn't from
and
Altdorf.
Or a
the
Sigmar.
other person that we found, they're fine, they're okay.
Which other person?
There's two.
The
people we found
princess.
downstairs,
The princess is unfortunately captive within the palace, so we fear she would be held hostage by the palace. She's being held hostage by the Knights Panther. I heard
very
they paid
awkward.
2 million crowns for her.
Who did they pay?
Oh, the Reichsguard? I mean, I didn't hear it as a rumor. I heard the conversation.
They've certainly paid a large amount.
No, that's what they said. It was in the coach.
She's their bargaining chip, I
Oh,
think.
Yes. Anyway, and
Where's the Emperor's brother?
he was.
Has he fled?
No, he fell unconscious at the same time you all did. He was attacked by the demon.
Is he still unconscious?
Don't know.
Don't know.
surely I would have done a little bit of.
No,
No.
you felt you went out after
I've
two.
also been knocked
Yeah.
out. Yes, come on.
Yeah.
And
And
it was
everything-
the patriarch was
Everything else down there is dead, destroyed. All means they had, we think, for is done.
Yes.
We don't speak about it again.
okay.
With
Yeah,
anyone.
no, I follow.
You get it?
Who is behind the attack then in the church?
Well, I actually have some news about that.
Temple.
The High Cathedral.
Yeah.
Or the North Temple.
The
The
north.
High,
What?
The
as
marriage
in
one?
where Gorman had to defend.
Oh, that's the High Cathedral.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I think-
Gorman was in the Imperial Palace with the Emperor.
But
He
But he
unleashed
caused
a
something.
great deal of
Yeah, but I mean that attack. Who was
magical
Oh.
energy to protect the Emperor.
which led to the Supreme or something going on fire?
Something terrible happened in the High Cathedral of Sigmar at the same time.
I'm not quite.
Just, like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
are you okay? Let's check your vitals.
It's just my
Oi, oi.
penis.
Anyone for a game of hoopla? Is my ankle still broken?
Broken, yes, it's all bound up underneath. And you're not in your armor because of that. You're just wearing the blue and gold tabards of the Knights Panther.
And some nice images.
According to the newspaper that I saw, the newsprint, thousands died. Gorman, of course, has retreated to the college and, maintains that he was protecting the Emperor and the Empire. And that this is another strike against the Empire by the Ruinous Powers. Seeking to sow discord and division between the Sigmarites and the colleges.
But the cult is now.
Father, she has missed out one very important point. Every Sigmarite in the city heard what you heard.
She was like, I didn't know that until you said
Right
that.
at the very end of the episode,
I don't have that.
the witches were responsible.
Right.
I thought only Loopold heard that.
No,
No.
everyone.
Everyone heard that.
Oh.
But maybe, we haven't had a chance to talk. And
Yeah.
It's
Because
no.
he's been busy praying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately, Father Loopold, you can tell him this bit.
Sigma spoke through me and blamed the witches for what happened. Now, that's a statement that has obviously been interpreted one way by the populace, but I think could easily be interpreted in other ways.
But they were just looking for an excuse to kick off. So
So am I under arrest? Am I allowed visit my college?
You have an escort in here, but I'm not really sure.
None of us
None
are
of us.
really allowed outside the palace at the moment. It's under lockdown.
My uncle was here.
He-
Under guard.
And he's now been sent back.
We were able
Back to sleep.
See what happens when we don't have Elrich for 1 week.
we were able to speak with Lord Magister Emmanuel Ferrand and explain to him what had happened, which is probably why your uncle was summoned and why we have been treated so well, because he appreciates the service that we did for the Empire. We hope he will wake up soon.
I do have a lead about what happened at the engagement party. I had some time to go, could dig around, but I don't know if this is the best place to talk about it. Let's just say that whoever the people who were responsible for the arrow.
There is a place where you might be better placed than almost any other. And I think it's most likely that Alamenowithe might suggest it. And that's with the Knights Panther. Largely because they've cornered off a part of the palace themselves and no one's allowed in. It's theirs. And they're not letting anybody in. They paid for it, they've got it. And until someone says they can't have it anymore.
As this is Middenheim business, it strikes me that we should discuss it in the quarters of the palace that are guarded by those guarding the Princess of Middenheim.
So then all you're going to have is Knights Panther listening in. It's a different issue.
Do you know if the room that we met her in is available? Because that was we went in and it was full, right?
No.
It was,
No, he did that.
He's a grey majesty.
he did that.
Yeah.
Sure, but there's the Emperor's
That's-
special room as
That's
well, isn't
down
it?
in.
That's in Hull.
Null.
Yeah, that's in another place. Lovely stuff. Don't listen to me.
I mean, we could
We
take a John
don't
down to
really
Null to have a conversation with
Super.
Challenge.
Do we still have our green?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Have they replaced the ones with the stab marks?
Nope.
Oh,
Did
okay.
they
That's
give
hard.
one for Elrich?
Pardon, one wasn't provided for Elrich because he was somewhat unconscious at the time.
Does he have clothes and
Yeah,
like all his equipment?
yeah,
is here?
absolutely. Everything's
We've all got nice green cloaks. We wear them all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of have to.
Yeah, shh, don't tell them
Gonna
that.
wear my wolf
We
top.
have to tell them, wear them all the time in the palace.
So are we repairing through
Yes.
to where the princess is
So presumably
ensconced?
they'll get a Sigmarite escort to there,
Yes, you
but
will.
then they'll
by the
stay
Matisse,
outside.
And then the Knights Panther won't let them through.
Great.
But you will get a Knights Panther guard attached to you, Gold Wizard. Because Knights Panther aren't having any of it.
Yeah.
There is a small amount of, let's say, disagreement at this point as you arrive there along with your escort of 2 Sigmarites. You know exactly where you're going because you've come in this direction more than once, Birdie, as has Alamenawai. And the Knights Panther, I'm quite happy to say, frightfully sorry, old boy, but you're not getting through. I have to escort the witch everywhere in the palace by order of, don't care. He says, we've paid for this, and as far as we're concerned, this is Knights Panther territory. It's not even the palace. There's only one who can overrule us, and that is the Emperor, who is currently going snoozy. From what we heard, because of the very good people here who rescued his life. So you've got an option here. You can press it, perhaps get some of your fellows, or you can not. It's your choice. We will be, says the Sigmarite, escorting the witch. No, you won't. Just like my good friend here doesn't have an escort. Just the Knights Panther folds his arms and says, no. Great. I don't. He says, this is Lord Magister Burnvich. He says, appropriately named for the current environment, isn't it? He says, and he says, a note, I don't have an escort. You know why? Because I don't have an escort. He looms over the Sigmarite. The Sigmarite says, you don't intimidate me. The other one goes, no, you don't. Says, I wasn't trying. Piss off. Come on in. And he just stands in front of them as he pushes again. Really, I weigh almost twice what you do. Go away. This is not your territory. This isn't a temple. You have no right. Yes, thank you. Go away. Go find someone to be annoyed by. Off you go.
So, just for clarification, the Knights Panther are here because they paid.
Apparently so.
So it's not.
That's the rumor on the rumor on the wind is
Yeah.
that, and they're supporting it with everything they see.
Can they go out? Can they leave?
No, they're stuck in
No,
they're stuck in the
Right.
palace too.
Fine.
They got in
they didn't
and can't get
intend
out.
it.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's not a law if you can pay for it. You know what I mean?
quite.
At that point.
Yeah, but I think they used all their money to get it.
Yeah, they've never met a problem yet.
They can't pay their way through.
Play this game to escape from reality.
Yeah.
Capitalism thrown in my face.
It's not capitalism, it's feudalism.
The Knights oligarch and none of your business. Anyway.
Peasant like me shouldn't ask questions.
It doesn't take that long to be escorted through to where the princess is being held. On the outside of it, there's a bunch of relatively sumptuous chairs. 2 knights are standing up in full armor. The rest of them are all just wearing tabards, much like yourself. They can't be bothered donning all their armor. They're not really on official business. They're milling around waiting for the right to get out. And they've been here for a long time at the pleasure of the palace. They tip well. Many a servant wants to come to this part of the wing. And they're all just sitting down, chin wagging away as they see you arrive. Mostly men, 2 of them are women, who all stand up because they're fully aware that royalty is in their presence. They stand as you file on by.
Sir Knight, Lady Knight, Lady
Nods,
Knight.
nods, nods, as you pass on by. A quick rap on the door, and you're taken into the royal apartment. This is not quite night and day to the rooms you're in, because the rooms you're in are also royal apartments. You've been given a very nice room in the palace. You did well. You were unconscious, but you did well.
I do better when I don't try.
But this is one of the nicer apartments in the Imperial Palace. A total of 5 rooms off the sides with servant rooms attached to that. The princess herself is sitting bored on the edge of a sage lounge wearing a Reiklander dress, which she clearly doesn't like. It's pushed up and pushed out and makes her body sit in ways that she doesn't like. She hates the thing, and she's just sitting there. She looks up and she goes, I say guests, as she stiffly gets up, sees you and goes, and comes running over, gives you a hug.
I thought you would be doing needlework.
She goes and sits down, and she says, "So, I see that you're..." and she gives you a small bow. She says, "Was it Elrich?
Yes.
Delighted to hear that you are well."
Thank you, Your
Sits down
Highness.
and see it, I suppose. She sits there. "I hate these dresses!"
Is this still real? Is everything real? Am I awake?
Yes.
Am I in the ether?
The corner of the room, there's a Knight's Panther standing. Corner of the other corner, another one. Through in the next chamber, you see another 4 sitting. Out on the balcony, another 2 standing as if someone might just swoop in at any moment and spirit people away.
Is this as private as we're going to get?
As private as you're going to get. You could send them out if you wish to do so.
Gentlemen, can you give us the room?
They look around. No.
Don't want to asking.
No harm in asking.
Her
Earmuffs.
Royal Highness has some news about the attack in the temple. Your Royal Highness.
She looks over. Oh, really? So who tried to kill not me?
Unfortunately, Sigmarites.
In the corner, you hear, "Knew it." From one of the Knight's Panther. Bloody knew it. Under his breath, but to your particularly sharp hearing, quite clear. As he shuffles slightly in his armour. As she goes, "Well, I suppose that's not exactly a surprise."
But so they were quite well known in the east end of Altdorf. One of them very good with a bow and arrow. I believe that they were talked into, tricked, manipulated into doing it, or perhaps told it would be a great opportunity and, kind of fomented into doing it by a cultist of the ruinous powers.
Do you think it was connected to the man on the street, the person who passed the gossip that claimed Her Royal Highness was a witch, to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince? You don't have anything of that?
I have really basic information about them, other than potentially they were in the same group as Etelka.
The cultist.
So not
Yeah, the
not painters, but
Yes.
Decorators.
exactly.
And was there any inkling as to what their motivation might be, as to why it would be a target for them?
For the Sigmarites.
No,
For
their
the
target
others.
there seems quite obvious.
Yes.
Persuading them might not be difficult if they were
No, I believe they were
fanatics.
just told where to go, essentially. That's all they needed. I don't know, but I know they know I got quite close because they were killed.
People.
Who did it?
How did they get through the amount of preparation and security that was there? That seems like-
Unfortunately, there were people on their side
Right.
within the people at that.
About troll.
Yes.
I didn't. It was a separate thing. The attack on Elrich was seemingly a separate group. Potentially, it was the same root. The person behind it all. Male 30s, average height is all I got. I don't even know for sure if they're a decorator or if it's just what they want me to believe. That's as little information as I got. But that's all I have. There is somebody out there, or a number of somebodies, kind of pulling the strings.
Is Lucas about?
Lucas is not about.
Right. Could you get Lucas?
Because last time I asked, he was going to be checked out to see if he wasn't, a demon. But nothing has happened since then, right?
No, he's not in the palace either.
Must be a demon.
He's not in the palace.
Oh, fuck off.
Or-
Can't be a demon.
Or we've not been told.
Well,
Where he is?
you
Like,
don't
I
know where
haven't
he is.
checked every
Yeah.
room.
I mean, you don't know where he is. He's not in the palace as far as you're aware.
She's an unattended Midlander.
Also, the other thing is
Yes.
the person that was doing the investigating or leading that investigation is still unconscious. So
So Luke is maybe
he might
in a
be-
dungeon,
yes, exactly, just waiting
Just
and
waiting.
waiting, and then
holding.
whoever's looking after him, I use that term loosely,
Very possibly.
has yet to get an order because the person doing the ordering is currently having a snooze.
Well, we don't know if he's unconscious. We haven't been told, but
That's true. It
but we
would-
think he probably is.
Would it be useful for everyone to think that you are, in fact? Oh, we're not getting Lucas back for long.
Yes. And that has its own problems, but there's only so much we can do. She says as she opens a can. I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry.
A bottle of wine. Cheers.
I need a drink.
Crack some ten.
Congratulations on your first Sigmarite assassination attempt.
We're still stuck here. No.
What's the Grand Theogenes doing? Has he spoken
He's in recovery as far as I'm aware.
Oh,
from the attack?
The attack from the Supreme Patriarch, the 8 colleges of magic that unfortunately bathed a third of the Grand Cathedral in fire, murdering, according to some reports, thousands, others, a score. It depends upon which broadsheet one reads.
Yes. That happened at the same time the Supreme Patriarch was repelling a demon
From what I can understand of it,
in a different part of, because we're in relation to the palace, the Grand.
It's a mile away.
it's by my
Imagine the
it's
castle
actually
and
too
Holyrood
far.
Palace.
he
it's
I
by
was
mile.
unconscious for this one.
From what I can understand, he found who was attempting to assassinate people in the Imperial Chamber and sent a spell down to destroy it. Unfortunately, it arrived at the other end
And that's
in
what
the
it was.
Grand Cathedral. That's what the Knights Panther has been
Something's rotten.
passing on to me.
Where's this Denmark you speak of?
Kislev. Kislev.
Father, what about you? Because there were Sigmarites there who saw what happened. Have you had a chance to speak to them? Or?
I'm guessing not if I fell unconscious.
No.
No.
Do we think it could be a route? I don't know.
Could be.
A route towards, I don't know, helping this situation.
I mean,
We can't go out, but maybe they could come in.
I don't exactly have a lot of standing within the cult.
Why not? I don't understand. You're surely you are just by being.
I'm not a noble, and I'm a member of not one of the big orders. I'm a member of no other order. So therefore, they see me as on the one hand, I'm tainted by my association with your family. On the other hand, I'm tainted with the association of Jester the Princess, your family.
She nods. Yes.
But Sigmar speaks through you.
Yeah, but
That has
Prove
to
it.
count for something.
but the
Prove
problem,
it.
I see.
And the problem is
Point.
what Sigmar says isn't necessarily, and certainly what I say is not what they want to hear.
And correct me.
It's
or tell me,
politics.
I know,
Dear
sorry.
boy.
Is the Grand Theogenes the voice of Sigmar usually?
In all matters, yes.
Yeah.
So in essence, you would.
Yeah. I mean, so he's a prime candidate for assassination if the Grand Theogenist is a politician.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a reason I've been attempting to avoid my cult.
Yeah, totally.
Avoid all this, I'm working together.
In a sense, the cult is led astray. Maybe.
You might say that.
Wise. Katerina just nods. Wise words. Wise words.
What about her dad? Is he back in Middenheim?
I have no idea where he is. The Knights Panther intend to ransom me to him.
So he's fine because you can't ransom somebody to a dead person.
Well, we don't know that. That's what they intend today.
Surely they would have.
I feel like
If they're coming in,
We-
they would know. that
We've all
he's-
been trapped here for the
We've all
last
been
2
trapped.
weeks. We have no idea where my father
When
is.
did the Knights Panther come in?
17
in.
days ago.
They arrived almost on the day.
Okay, that seems very convenient as well, doesn't it?
No, it wasn't convenient. They heard I was here and they immediately came.
Okay. I think it does.
there is a section of them that are based in Altdorf.
No,
Yeah, they came from within Altdorf, presumably not.
Not quite. They came through a mixture of Naln's troops and Oslin's troops. They were supporting them, paid, of course.
Yeah, but they were in Altdorf.
Yes, they were.
So it's not like they travelled.
And they had word that I might be here, so they decided that they would spend a significant amount of coin to determine whether that was true.
What about our other
Spies would almost
yeah.
certainly have given them the word that they needed.
Which I think of the Osland, but they had fled Altdorf before introducing us.
The Ostlanders
Yeah.
have. It was the Ostlanders, wasn't it? Who was the knobhead?
You're gonna have to narrow
You're gonna
that
have to narrow
down.
it.
Narrow it down because
Oh.
from your perspective, apparently anyone.
That is very true. I don't like anybody in this
No,
world.
especially not men who are taller than me. I've noticed
Which is most
a
men.
trend.
Yes.
Yeah, I've noticed that trend.
Not Elrich.
You like
Eric's the
Elrich.
best bud.
Totally normal height people over here.
I'm just trying to figure out if I actually have issues with this.
Now's not the time, Ed. Now's not the time.
Just once we go off into like a weird place.
That's a good point because we were unconscious.
The one who was, yeah, but did we see the? I fucking can't remember. Were we unconscious before Matey got?
What are
Yes,
you trying
yes,
to
we
ask
were,
me?
yes.
You bounced off a ceiling.
I don't remember this. I was unconscious. I was thrown into the sky. I'm sorry.
The-
Carry on.
The painters.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
The three people in the. She says
The doctor. I know about the doctor person.
Yeah, you did know about the
Yes.
doctor.
So we found out that the doctor looking after
Doctor.
The
the emperor
Yes.
was probably a
The-
painter.
Hold on. Who was... We brought back the Emperor.
What?
No. Dr. Flaster was the one who administered the cure to the Emperor. So you're right, we were involved in his recovery, which Sigma willing, he will make a full recovery. But
I do believe you mean Shalia.
is that so? Shalia willing, he will make a full recovery.
I mean both.
Yeah.
Like he'd be.
I would hope.
Yeah,
I would
we-
hope
we-
that
we
both
went
Shalia
down-
and Sigma would watch
We rescued the
him.
princess, and we came back. The whole party,
Wow.
us and the princess,
Yes.
And that was it.
and poor old Grim sacrificed himself to ensure that we got away.
Yes,
And the entire party, those of us sitting here, came back.
and part of the reason that we knew
I
that
see.
and part of the reason that we knew that there was something afoot in the Emperor's sick room was because Leopold had a vision sent from Sigma that said something like, he has his mind, or it has his mind, which made us realize that perhaps the illness imposed upon the Emperor had been imposed by a third party. And indeed, when the Supreme Patriarch arrived in the Emperor's bedroom, there were some people in that room who were taken by a spell which I believe was to capture those who had fell purpose towards the Emperor.
Yes.
And one of them was the individual that we had suspected of having fallen.
Yes.
First of all, can I please have a perception test?
Perception test. Certainly.
Difficulty is 4.
That would be... Sorry?
Difficulty 4.
Difficulty 4. I mean, there's 10 successes.
Oh wow,
But
so
yeah.
6 successes.
It
Nice.
is higher than
As Alaminawai is talking, you can hear that there is a slight disturbance on the outside. And as you spell out your extra words to cover up the definite not mistakes that are potentially being thrown around the table here.
just kick me.
Cunt, shut up, Elrich! Just don't!
I thought me saying everyone down there is dead but the princess would be
Well, no,
enough.
I had a sudden moment of realization where I realized what he was saying. What he heard us say was the Emperor is fine, he's recovered, and he thought he meant the what we thought. And I realized, that's what he's thinking.
Yeah, quite.
Find this out. I'm going to write down what happened.
And as slow
I still don't know it.
and some dawning crosses Elric's face as you can hear in the background. You're looking for the Emperor's word. Well, fortunately, I'm the Imperial Herald who speaks with his voice.
Yeah.
So I do believe you can't stop me in the Imperial Palace.
We should know the head.
We know it. We had it all written down. Remember, we had all the people who we were going to
Who's the
investigate.
Imperial Herald? Who's the Imperial Herald?
I'm kind of hoping Katerina might swoop in with some knowledge.
She can't hear it.
No, I just said.
She just
Oh,
said.
it's Imperial Herald. She doesn't know. She, this is
My
right
lord,
politics,
chair,
quite
chair,
beyond her ken.
Harold.
Nicely done. As she folds her arms and says, "Are we going to be getting a visitor?"
I think so.
Everyone on their best
She
behaviour.
says, "Give me a moment while I try to fit
Raging
into this
boner.
stupid
Oh,
frock."
there we go.
She pushes
I
herself
can
into
trade
place.
grooming her. Sort
Please,
her
if you could.
buddy. Oh no, you're still in the meeting.
No, I'm on crutches now.
Do you think? There you do it.
I can trade
No.
no. Birdie, do it.
Trade grooming, please.
Yeah, I can assist.
No, she doesn't want to assist. She wants
No.
the
I'll
elf to
spend
do
a
it.
fortune.
I might do a little divination while we're waiting.
Okay, toss some bones.
This feels like this might be bad. We are all good.
Although
on
it is
divination.
I think it's advanced, so
Okay, so who are you divining for? Just making sure. Yeah.
Me initially.
How is this going to turn out? Clatter, clatter, clatter.
Is everyone
I've got
prepping? Should I start
fortune
channeling?
Princess.
The princess, nicely done.
Or something cryptic to her.
As the bones scatter, and it's quite clear that the princess's fortunes are going to change.
Oh.
With a capital C. Which is a lovely thing to say, as just outside you hear, my lady, it has been so long since we last met, comes a voice.
Oh.
It has been so long.
Does he recognise the voice?
I don't know, does he? That's
From
it's
English.
long enough ago that I think he might not immediately get it.
Well, no, but
it will sink in.
the words are what?
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Really?
Oh, so wasn't she the
We're in
herald?
trouble.
she was
Yeah.
an imperial.
He's better
No.
have been writing your reports.
Yeah.
I think.
No! Give me some paper! I need to start writing my report!
Do you see any pigeons?
She looks around. Oh, crap!
Well, we were both supposed to.
Me pie at them.
You're here for a
Me
full
pie my homework!
To be fair,
5 XP, come on.
we have been kind of busy.
5 XP, I'll give you that.
See, if you make enough jokes,
One's all gonna ring out. And you hear, my lady, look, you must understand that Her Royal Highness is not to be disturbed. In the Imperial Palace, yes, I know. She says, but as the Imperial Herald, she says, I fancy a jaunt in this direction. And you hear a low growl, don't touch you.
Can I pop my head out the door?
If you want to go up to the door and pop your head out.
Sorry.
You won't reach there before she opens it, sadly, then.
Oh, well.
As it opens up and you're making your way over.
I'm faster on my crutches than he gives me credit for. I get quite ahead of speed. I'm very tall, so they're very low.
That sounds like an agility check.
I'm half tempted just because I want it to fail. So yeah, let's do it because it would be hilarious.
It's good to know you're on my side.
Athletics, though, it's not just agility.
Just let me refresh it. My character sheet. Athletics. 4 successes.
Nice.
I've been
It's not bad.
17 days.
That means that as the door opens, you deftly avoid it and don't run into it, which would be hilarious. Didn't happen. As you move aside, and indeed on the other side is Lady Emmanuel Nacht, whom you have not seen
Since Uber's right.
since Ubersreich.
Yes.
The Imperial Herald, who was sent by the Emperor to oversee matters in Ubersreich, your town, or your other half's town, or
No, it's mine.
who are you anyway?
Lady Nash.
Lady Nacht, who you first met when you were about 8 years old. Well, younger, 6. First met when you were 6 years old, and she guided you round a Cathayan city.
Or a demon wearing her skin. Yay!
Or a demon wearing the skin of Nacht. She has arrived, and behind her are 2, let's use the loose term of gentlemen, because they are well dressed, but they also have the look of men who are less than gentle. They're not particularly well shaved. They look like they've been in at least 4 or 5 fights, probably in the last week or so. They've got that sort of brutish look that you're all too often seeing on the faces of, say, henchmen or equally brutish enforcers. As she smiles upon seeing you and says, I haven't heard from you in so long.
I'm so sorry. Things got a little bit chaotic.
She says, not the best words. Goodness. She
No.
comes in and sees Katrina and blinks for a moment and goes, oh, Your Royal Highness. And
to my point.
bows deeply as she looks over and says, I must apologise. I don't know who you are. She says, of course. I am Lady Emmanuel Nacht, Herald of Karl Franz, the First of Reichland, Emperor. She says, which means I actually have some significant leeway in the palace until he wakes up. And she looks round, don't I? And she closes the door behind herself as she comes in and looks around. I didn't realise there were so many people here. I was actually just coming to see you because I had heard that you'd been escorted over here.
Yes.
By a little bird. Do you mind if we have a private word?
I trust all people, but if you want.
Well, how well do you trust them?
We will glance at the Knight Panther in the
Maybe
corner.
not those guys.
Should we tell them one of your secrets?
As my companions know everything that there is to know.
Everything we discussed?
The broad strokes.
Jolly D, she says, looks over. Excuse me, Sir Knight, can you please collect your fellows and remove them from this chamber? This is a ladies' chamber, and it's not for anyone but myself and these fine ladies. As as
Just my rooms.
as the knight goes, I'm not supposed to leave. Says, I understand. It's my palace. Out.
What about the hired goons?
They also criticize.
And you hear, oh. Give me a moment, he says. And he crosses over the room. Your Royal Highness makes his way out, and you can hear on the other side a conversation. Two of you have got very sharp ears. You hear the conversation. Who the hell is this woman? Not you.
Right in my eyes. Oh, I've got superpowers.
Not you know.
It comes on the winds of magic.
Can I like see in the future now as well? Is that
Sadly,
kind of
no.
thing?
No.
Probably be
I could be more of a witch. I don't think.
And you hear, that's Emmanuel Nacht. The Emperor has appointed her as his herald. She's not supposed to come from Muberschreit from what I can hear, but somehow she's here. So does that mean that she can tell us to piss off or something? I mean, strictly, yes. Well, how about we pair together at the palace? Oh, good idea. Go get the captain. Right. Yeah, she wants everybody out, though. I'll get the captain. And they go off in different directions. Yes, of course, we'll get everybody out. Pleasure to be of service, ma'am. Says, oh, of course. She sees them go and slowly but surely collects knights until crump, 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 crump. A small phalanx makes its way out of the room.
Out from under the bed.
More than we thought there were.
Hanging from the
As they're
ceiling.
covered.
As she comes in and sits down and turns over, Cara, can you make sure that there's nobody listening at the door? And one of them at the back says, "Bye, your mum." Goes up to the door and goes outside. Goes, ha 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 ha! She was only the Emperor's daughter. We all thought that she oughta. As he starts to sing on the other side of the door.
Can we lock that as well?
Pardon?
Is the door lockable?
No.
No.
You don't have a key. It's got an obvious lock, but there's no key.
Reverse lockpick.
If you wish to attempt it, yes, you can.
It's a lock pot.
If you wish to go lock put it, feel free.
No, there's a guy in front of it.
Yeah, there is, and he leans on this side and hums along with Carol on the other side, singing away as that small smile on her face sits down. She's a tall woman, much like the princess, just over 6 foot tall with dark hair. A pretty face. She can't be much older than maybe about 24, 25, somewhere around there. Quite a bit older than yourself. When she saw you around, she was a girl, really, when she was taking you around the various places in Cathay. And she was dressed as a Cathayan at the time because she was at a Cathayan school or some similar nonsense, which she had been excitedly talking about. You remember it back then. And it's funny to see her again as a grown-up in Imperial clothes.
Yeah.
As she sits down. Do you have anything you wish to report, since supposedly everybody knows?
When was the last time we got in touch?
You didn't.
Well, we did.
Did you not send a letter
we,
from Kemperbad?
we sent a letter from Kemperbad.
Nothing arrived,
Oh,
Well, yeah.
which says something in and of itself,
yes.
suggesting that you were being followed at the time.
There's quite a story.
So, am I correct in saying that it is time for Bonk
Yes.
story
think
download
we'll
concerning
avoid-
the Purple Hand?
Yeah, we'll avoid, turns into a wizard. Multiple winds of magic. The stuff
My
he doesn't need
dear.
to know.
The
Yeah,
stuff
avoid
she-
the incriminating stuff.
Yeah.
Albert doesn't know who she is. He never met her in Uber.
Yeah, I never
But
met
you've,
her.
you've
Right?
heard us talk about it.
We've heard
Yeah,
you all.
She introduced
Yeah.
herself.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
I've never met
you'll
her.
inform her of the Purple Hand gubbins. So you trace down the root of the Purple Hand, where they were founded, who's the one who is responsible for leading them now.
Yeah, and really importantly, that there's probably 3 in custody in this palace right now.
Quite.
Auslanders who, because Ferrand had got them taken, but then he was unconscious and Thyris Gorman had to fuck off. But she's
Yeah.
maybe in a good position to
She
actually
absolutely is.
Especially one of them being
point.
the Von Oslo.
Yeah, the one that we suspected was one before.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and
Um,
also the link to the Red Crown, I think, would be useful.
Second cult
Yeah.
that you should be aware of, the Red Crown, who may be responsible for the assassination attempt on Katerina as well. So we loosely explained the Wittgenstein connection and how they attempted to infiltrate the cult and ended up becoming cultists in turn.
Yeah, we give her the LAWhammer URL.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And-
Go watch
Double
that.
speed.
You'll get the
68 hours of content.
You even know where the cult was founded with Sister Admiranda back in the day.
240.
Well,
And how Sister Admiranda founded the cult up in Middenheim, and it spread out from Middenheim with its feathered talons from that point onwards. And that they have the support of the demon prince Admiranda on the other side, which is never a good start. And they also have a demon in their employ that has been subverted up in Altdorf, Middenheim for a while, but then eventually was returned to them, meaning that there is out there somewhere a shapeshifter who can assume anyone else's form, assuming it gets to nom down on them, eat the flesh and wear the skin. Lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it could be her right now.
Yeah, it could be her.
Indeed, it could
But if
be.
it's not, then we have to tell her. And if it is, then it
It's
kind of
not like
knows
you
we
can
know this
know.
stuff
Yeah,
anyway.
totally. You lose
Like,
almost
we lose
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, quite.
The same. Basically, we had the same decision about Emmanuel Ferrand. Do we
Yes.
tell him or not? And we were like, well, if he's bad, then we're fucked anyway. So,
Yeah. And if he isn't, he needs to know.
and
So,
if he isn't, he needs to know.
Seems like we're still fucked. But
I mean, obviously.
Oh, why don't we
So
not?
upon hearing it all, she says, "My, that is fascinating and terrible." The doctor, he was close friends with my father. It was probably him who was responsible for my father's death then.
Potentially.
He was the ambassador to Cathay, and when he returned, he was murdered. And I later found out it was the Purple Hand that were responsible for it. So it would make sense it's him. And if he is here, she says, we shall find out. However, before that, Father, I do not know if this was within your personal preference, but I should most like to receive a blessing.
sure.
For if I receive a blessing, I think it would make it relatively clear that I'm unlikely to be a demon.
Mhm.
Sure.
And might I suggest that whenever you are involved with any interested individuals, bless them also.
Indeed. I also think there are other methods at my disposal.
Eh?
I will perform an augury maneuver
Augury!
successfully.
Tuesday.
No, signs say good.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, the signs are good.
Kill Katerina, kill Katerina.
We have the real Katerina.
I might do one on Katerina just because of what the
What the
divination was.
divination
How many, do you have a limit to your auguries?
3, I think.
I think it's 3 too.
Yeah.
Good. I'm just double checking.
It's one I can do for and I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that 3 times.
To yourself.
Specifically for this purpose.
Yeah, correct. Augury test.
Yeah, all good for Katerina.
Superb. Good.
Excellent.
She says, well, that being the case, I shall go and have words with the dungeons. She says, and find out if they are still in there.
Mother Lucas.
Oh, yes.
As she turns round, is there someone else you wish me to inquire after?
I'm over a party, Lucas Mueller.
Lucas Mueller.
He has potentially been held, but to assess whether he is good or not. But the father can do that most effectively. We really need him back.
And he is the advisor to Royal Highness.
It was really quite a slaughter. As the door opens, you can be quiet now. Here's Mom. And they go off. As the princess sits down, an unexpected ally. And she was the one who was responsible for Uberstrike. I see.
There was someone else also there.
General
Cabinet.
Cabinet.
She says,
Yeah, the one I slept with.
she says,
Yeah,
The one who wanted to murder her.
it was a test. And I passed.
What part of it was a test?
Oh my God.
That's a story for another day.
from the general expression, I would suggest all of it. She says,
Test, ordeal.
It was to prove something to Emmanuel Nacht,
Okay.
which I did. Which is why I'm not in the dungeon in Uberstrike.
I am at a loss as to what to do next. She says, everything appears to be in a state of disarray. Capital's burning. Quarters are on fire, literally.
Well, now that we have a little bit of time, because they haven't come back in, right? The next
No,
moment.
no, no.
I would like to figure out whether the Reichsmarshal is just getting in the way because he can, or whether there's a reason. Because
Getting in the way of what?
I mean, he's the one making all these rules that we can't leave. That right, and part of it makes sense, obviously, like political hostage, all that kind of stuff. But he was also probably the person who ordered my family being attacked all the way back at the start of the year. Attacked the Ramildons. It could have been just the Emperor having a moment and giving an order, but it might have just come from him.
Sounds like he needs a blessing.
Yes.
Don't we all?
So where is he at the moment? And also, there's no reason why we can't leave. There are rules why we can't leave, but there's no real reason why we can't leave.
Well, there
so
is
if we can get out.
The
physically-
palaces are famously penetrable.
From the outside, no.
I mean, they are primarily designed
inside
to keep
out.
people out.
It's the other way
is his
around.
point. But
What's the
it
opposite
wouldn't
of
be
penetrable?
Yes, and a bowl is primarily designed to keep water in it, and yet water can't get in it when it's shut.
Bowls don't shut, but my point is more.
Layman's, but we get bigger.
It's like,
Yeah.
have you met bowls? No, my point was more
Elven
that there
bowls
may,
are
there may be means by which we could. I'm not necessarily we should though. I don't think that'd be prudent, but there are ways
There's
that
also
we
a
could get out.
riot outside.
Yeah.
Do we know?
No, just
Have the colleges banded together? Is there splinters?
We don't know.
Because realistically, the Brights and the Light could level Altdorf, right? If they needed to.
Yeah, but why would they? Yeah.
if
I
they
mean,
felt
yeah.
threatened enough.
But again, why would they?
It's an extreme, but
You know,
like it is the
you know,
power.
they're good guys. You don't go around killing people.
They're imperial citizens. Some of them will give themselves up.
This is.
They can't even fly away.
Don't know if he would know the Brights who would.
I mean, the Brights wouldn't.
Yeah.
But the other
Some of the lights might, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, some of the lights absolutely would. It would be logical.
Oh, what happened to the
the light that
Yeah, the light was
Emmanuel
that turned up.
I don't know what happened.
They would
to
be
her
the first
when she
to
left.
go to if there was a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Their specialty.
wasn't there a thing that we got told?
Well, we're supposed to tell them about Grimm.
Yes.
We do need to make contact with the Light College. I was hoping we would be able to do it through the Light Wizard that Lord Magister Emmanuel Ferrand brought, but unfortunately, in everything that happened after, wasn't able to speak with her.
I mean, she might still be stuck here. If it all went down into lockdown.
is Flaster still caught in here as well?
Flasters, everyone is stuck in, yes, in the palace. The palace is still locked down. No one gets in or out without express permission of the
Okay. Well,
Reichsmarshal.
here's one thing we can do if that's the case. If we can request Flaster to come to us, and if we get Lucas back, then at least Lucas will be a little happier. I know it's a
I think
small
it'll be
thing, but
really
I
awkward.
think they broke up, God.
did they?
It'll be
I
like
thought it was just.
Lucas is married.
No, I knew that, but I thought
And
it was
wasn't
just we're going a different direction.
Didn't Flaster make some kind of arrangement?
She left him for your benefit. It's complicated. I don't.
Yeah, no, but the feeling is still there, isn't it? Surely.
Bless him.
So
I
naive.
don't think that's how that works.
Does the Emperor's Herald outrank the Reichsmarschall? She seemed to talk that way.
I think it would be iffy.
Not in matters military.
So the question is imprisoning us a military matter?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would she be able to allow us?
Or
But even if we leave,
Going outside is dangerous.
What
what
is-
we do?
what's the plan?
Speak to Gorman.
Leopold know about what we spoke about out there outside the palace? The fact
It's
that
quite
the
obscure.
people outside the palace just
Oh, yes.
I mean, there's another complication. I don't know if any of you have heard what some of the people outside the palace are saying. They're not just rioting. Some of them have sort of specifically come to see me.
Oh,
All right.
in a good or a bad way?
In a sort of cult way.
Oh,
Some of them have recognised that I am the voice of Sigmar.
Okay. Well, this is good. This is good.
That might be
but
some of the ones that
actual
were in the
influence.
room when all the stuff happened.
Yeah, but you need to get your
I would
mother
do-
to have a word with the crowd.
Well, it's not that. It's
Just
more.
a naughty boy.
I'm just putting out that stealth may not be as possible as it has in the past. Because they just.
It's locked.
They're being amused out there because a cat has made a dive bomb at the door and failed to get in outside.
Right at a dramatic moment.
As we said, we are playing in our living room.
Sigmar.
Sigmar. It's me, Margaret.
Sigma the cat strikes again.
Like they haven't come because some of them maybe, but because of like rumors or things they read or things they heard, they've been drawn to me. So there's that.
But surely, like, the palace must have a secret exit. It's a palace.
it's going to have sewers.
Yeah, it will do. My point is more just if we sneak out, we may then have a ragged bunch of flatulence following us around the city.
What we could do is ask
Dead
Naft
incognito.
to get a message out to the Wittenheimers if they are still there.
If I could track down Geralt, that would help.
Fireworks?
Girl, no.
Didn't we have a whole fireworks signal
We
system?
got separated when Boris fled the city. I don't know if he's still here, and I didn't see him.
You didn't?
Okay. So
But even if we do get out, what are we going to do? What's our plan? Where are we going?
North. Back to Wittenheim with Katrina.
why are we here? All right, that's the question. Why are we here? Then? It was
To
to
find out what happened and now
right.
protect the princess.
Okay, so how do we protect the princess as we get her away from the Nice Panther? Correct.
That's going to be tricky.
I'm not sure that would be to my benefit.
Yes.
Got spare 2 million crowns.
The thing about the Knights Panther is they are going to protect her.
They are
They're
rather
going to kill
invested
her
in my...
in her continued life.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
She
So
says, and they do intend to escort me to my father, so I will end up exactly where I wish to be.
fine. So do we
And,
tick
and
that
I
box? Is
am
that
one
done?
of them, so awkward.
That's also true.
But also, are we still trying to find out what's happened?
Okay.
Because then there are things to do.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
no,
so. I think
fine.
it's still pertinent to find out whether it was the Trots behind the attack on our Ulrich,
Yeah.
or if another party was trying to
Well, then
do whatever they were doing,
surely
Yeah.
start a civil war.
well, surely then the prisoners from the other day will be the first, most accessible source.
It feels like the attack is no longer from a political point of view or a lines on a map point of view. The attack now, the civil war is now no longer about I live here, you live here. It's about I believe this, you believe this, right? Which
It's both.
from an yeah, certainly, but in terms of a focus, like that this is a big change in terms of. There's always, elector counts have always pissed off other elector counts. It's sort of, and everybody's always been, regardless of whether you are a cultist or if you're just greedy, or you're just wanting better for your people. Vice, you could say one thing and mean the other. It doesn't matter. Though there's always been that. But you say this. The spirit of the empire is that everybody works collectively together during those points. If you make this much of a split in people's beliefs and a division between wizards or something that was put down.
Did you study history when you were at the university?
Yes, I'm very good at history.
Are you?
I can't.
The Age of Three Empires, Emperors?
Oh, fuck off! It doesn't know.
Sigmarism outlawed in Talabic lands? Like, the Empire's history is
Sure.
driven with divisions like this.
All right, fine, but
I'm not saying it's good, but it's not that abnormal.
that is
either.
currently being pressured more, which means that somebody wants that to happen,
Yeah.
and we know that someone is.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have the colleges, since the colleges were founded, 200 years ago, how many times in that interim have they been, like, banned,
I do a
outlawed,
history check.
and then brought back?
Once.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, once.
Yeah.
And that was brought to a close again after the enormous defeat at Grucher Marsh by the armies of the Reichland plus allies against the Wasteland that had just separated itself from the Empire. And the Empire went, yeah, we can kick you in. It's all of us versus your tiny little bit. A couple of high elf mages were enough to turn that entire battle round the other way. They lost hugely. Grucher Marsh was a massacre. The Sigmarites going, we don't need wizards! Splat, splat. No, we don't! Oh dear! It's all going wrong!
Not so bad.
No, they were dying on the wrong end of it. They thought they were the worst. The Sigmarites didn't change their mind, but the Elector Counts most certainly did, as they all went shuffle, 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 and the Emperor went, yeah, we need the colleges back. So the colleges returned.
What?
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was a wee while back. That was like about 100 years ago? Just over 100, yeah.
We
I
all
thought there was another one more recently than that.
Just under 100, pardon me.
Wasn't there another one where there was like a fire or something?
What caused it all to kick off, yes.
Go.
we always said that it would suit those seeking to have the ruinous powers re-emerge to have absolute chaos. I don't think that has changed. It's just that they've been quite more successful than we had hoped.
That's not a word that you should use, even with a small c.
I see.
And we know
Pandemonium.
and we know for a fact that the founder of this cult was directly responsible for the enshrining in law for the cult of Sigmar to oversee the colleges of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we saw that happen, right?
Yes. So, I mean, what? Our best
So
bet is that the Emperor wakes up and we
So
make
the-
a really good case.
I think the way I see it is this, and that is, it has, before it was Middenheim, so they killed our Ulrich, which means Middenheim is up in arms, which means the cult of Ulrich is up in arms.
Right.
But the cult of Ulrich and
I
Middenheim,
would suggest it's the other way around. The cult of Ulrich is up in arms, and thus much of Middenheim, Middenland, and
That's what it is.
Ostland is up in arms.
exactly, and before this happened, they would have met an Altdorf and a Reichland that was, granted, it had Jungfreud issues in the south, but largely the colleges would have swung in behind Altdorf as they always do, because they're in Altdorf.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you have is exactly the same that's happened in the north, exactly the same issues down in the south, but now you have an Altdorf that is in absolute turmoil. Sigmarites who cannot agree with wizards fighting each other, which just makes the civil war even worse. It's just worse
So
for Altdorf.
Do we think those external parties are now getting ready to like attack Altdorf then? Seems like a perfect time.
What, the Ulrich?
Origins. And they can do it. They've done it in the past.
Auslanders, people from Nuln.
And of course, if a ranking Auslander noble were to be publicly outed as a cultist of the ruler's powers, that's hardly going to calm.
Unfortunately, all three of them were Ostlanders
Mhm.
in that room.
Exactly. That's my point.
Only Ostlanders,
That's
so
not
it
gonna-
looks targeted.
That's not going to calm things down, is it?
Do you know what would be good? Is if the Emperor woke up, that would be good,
That would be great.
and calm things down. But if he was able to then, because he's been unwell, he could make right some of the things that could happen. He could send a search party for the Elector Count of Ostland's son, who, although missing, is not confirmed dead, but Colonel Sievers told us that he was extremely angry that there had been no official response. He could make outreach to your family. He could outreach to Middenheim. He can do, if he woke up and you could tell a story that he had been very unwell, that the Reichsmarshal had overreached, that his generals had got excited, then you could quell
Smooth it down.
and smooth a lot of this over.
Footsteps. You can hear them coming.
Well, that's
Someone's coming.
okay. Well, that's option one. Wakes up, figure out who this is, and then we can do option 2, 3, 4. See what they're
Anyone going for the door?
I'm near it.
I kind of like turned my eye sockets towards
Yes.
the her chambers.
I can, because I'm near there.
Open it up, and on the other side is Lucas. And behind Lucas is Lady Emmanuel Nacht and her two chaps, one of whom you know is called Garrow.
I let them.
As Lucas goes, hello.
Hello, come on in.
She says, hello. Sees Katrina. Your Royal Highness.
Yeah.
Immediately bows.
Yes.
I'm always
Princess, you
crazy
may?
with this, Andy, but
Mhm.
I'd like to
Yeah.
agree with you.
No, don't agree with the day already. I do love it.
Yep, we're all good.
We're all good, and we're all good. You can see that the signs around him are right. This is the way that the sunlight cast into the dust around him. Yeah, it's him.
Nice.
Yeah,
I can see the sunlight.
you can see something. There is no sunlight in the room. The windows are all the way over there. The sun's on the other side of the
Did he
palace.
just say that?
Yeah. It's like shafts of sunlight by him catching in dust.
And is he looking in Lucas's direction
Yes,
as
he
he
is.
says this? I'm going to
Beatific
give,
smile
I'm
on
gonna
his
give
face.
Lucas, Alman White will give Lucas a hug.
How does he
Hello.
smell?
He smells of dungeon.
Oh.
He smells like he's been in the worst of it. However, his clothes have clearly been changed.
That's good.
As Emmanuel strides in afterwards and says, we have an issue with the cultists that were detained. They were all murdered. First
Okay.
day in the palace,
Of course they
suggesting
are.
that there are still people at hand in the palace who are seeking to cover up their tracks. I do believe, she says, as she comes over and says, do you mind if I sit, Your Royal Highness? She says, no, of course. And she sits down. That we are in a difficult circumstance. We don't know how many of them are here. However, we can say for certain that their grip on the Emperor has probably slipped. That those who were directly responsible for holding on to the Emperor are now removed, which gives us a further advantage because we know that they work in small groups, often without any connection to any of their other cells that they work with, meaning that we have probably removed that threat. We have other threats within the palace, though. Probably their only duty was to kill any who were captured under certain circumstances, which means that I have had all of the palace staff detained down in the dungeon and any connected to them. I have taken on board the glorious Knights Panther who have been most helpful. The Reichsguard are not helpful at all. They will only answer to, of course, their Grand Master. She nods. The Reichsmarshal. But the Knights Panther are very keen to get in the face of the Reichsguard. So they are currently organising things down below. Some of them are rather upset that I'm using them as jailers, but so be it.
Is there a bit of writing on something around here?
A bit of writing
Yeah,
on something
like a
around here.
book.
What do you mean?
A wine bottle?
Oh, yes.
Right. Could Gerhardt just pick up the thing,
Mhm.
look as
Wine
if he's
bottle.
reading it,
Mhm.
but just sort of mutter to himself. But during that, just look, Paul, it's probably a good idea just to bless the followers as well, the henchmen, if you can. It's not subtle.
No, it's not.
I'm reading, and
Matt was quite open to.
Yeah, you could just ask.
Yeah,
She was
I mean,
open.
perhaps before we go any further, you wouldn't mind if I led us in a little prayer to Sigma?
She says, of course. Carol, leave. Here. You will.
What's that?
Do a blessing of...
I mean, I've got to be careful because I don't want to keep
Well,
repeating them because it's Sigma gets angry. Sorry?
Enemies of Sigmar. No, you
I
don't.
don't want to go a miracle. I'm just going to go for a blessing.
No, full on miracle.
Yeah.
It's not a glow.
Although you could do that in front of
Come
all
on,
the
convert
staff.
some Knights Panther while you're at it. Come on, get this profit
No
thing
nice
going.
panther in here.
Yeah.
If he shines like the sun, we'll be in here.
What's going on?
Point taken.
No, but I don't. It would. Sigmar doesn't seem to like it when I
You show off, yeah.
Yeah, when I use miracles for things other than what the miracles were
Yeah,
intended for.
it's true.
Blessings, however,
Yeah.
I seem to have a bit more leeway.
I agree. I think it's wise.
And
So,
just for the
what
record,
is
Ashley,
likely to happen?
there's one Knights Panther in this room.
Oh, that's true, that's true.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're already converted.
Assuming
That's
they're
a
good
check,
guys,
though.
these are like hench
I
type
wouldn't
people,
know.
right?
Hench
So
staff.
At least that's what they appear as.
Then, well, I guess we're all in this fight together against the ruinous power. So blessing a battle doesn't feel right.
There's a
Oh,
blessing of
there's a
health
bravery
or
one, isn't there?
well-being or strength
bravery
or
one?
something.
Blessing
Steal our
of not
hearts.
being a demon.
I'll roll it and make sure I don't roll terribly while I'm working out which one it is. I did not roll. I rolled very well. 69 dudes.
Nice.
Lay on
Blessing of
hands.
Good times.
That's a good point.
Yeah, blessing of courage.
Well, none of them appear to repel like they are demons.
Good.
They are.
I mean, it's enough
They
to
are
actually-
blessings that doesn't feel change or
Yeah.
do anything
Like
other than.
I can do Emmanuel Nacht again
Yeah,
as
indeed.
well. And
Anytime anyone goes out of your sight, just like
Courage me, Leopold.
well, I got enough. It's like, come on, you're all brave. Be brave.
If you could see, you'd love to do Emmanuel that.
Hey!
So, next steps, she says. Doctor, what do you believe the chances of the Emperor awakening are? Do yourself a lore medicine test.
It's not high. +2, so 5.
Five. Still pretty freaking decent. No, that's not high. 5 successes.
4. Sorry, 4. I read the wrong way. I read the wrong one. 4.
4 successes. 4 successes.
Only
you,
4.
The correct answer is you don't know. He's currently unconscious. He has a jade spell activated within him so that he doesn't die.
Right.
Effectively, he's in a coma. And he's not coming about. He could, like Elrich, awaken any day. He might not.
How like open have people been to the idea of Jade Magisters doing magic on him? Like, surely there's a bit of a
No, not at all.
That's fine.
This is common practice for the upper echelons of the imperial nobility. They're quite used to when it comes to long-term illness, having jade wizards.
but the fact that it's wizards or witches, as everyone's told.
Apparently, that is not causing them any issues.
not an issue.
Okay, it very well may do another quarters, but not here.
And a degree of this whole having to escort the witches maybe some kind of compromise that the Reichsmarshals had to do. You know, he's not, I don't believe, a consummate politician.
I think that's a fair estimation of the situation.
And he's got Shallions up there, I presume, as well. Doing
Yes, he
whatever
absolutely
they do.
Mm.
does.
Stab people, mostly.
Yeah. Just
I mean,
standing left, right,
you
Yet.
you
the demon was
expect him to wake up a few days ago, and he hasn't yet. So it's difficult to call.
Has the purple brain fever subsided?
Yeah, that's good.
Largely,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the core ailment has passed.
I've got my law disease.
Someone should do a
Wanted to check
blessing.
to see
Can
how-
you do a blessing
And he's
of
no longer
toughness?
suffering from the disease, which is why,
Yes.
we're past that.
You should.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I
Good
could
idea.
advise the Emperor.
Well, why doesn't he do a blessing of toughness on him? Like, surely if he's
He's got
getting...
Shallions there.
So no Sigmarite blessings for him.
Well, we won't bring any extra additional benefit.
Okay.
They're probably doing a blessing.
Sure,
Exactly.
I don't know how it
they're
works.
Stallions. You know,
I'm like,
they've got the
given
stuff.
the strength of Sigmar, whatever. The human gods.
Strength
I mean-
of Sigmar!
I mean, Volkmar would argue that Shally doesn't really care about the Emperor, but Sigmar does.
Yeah, that would be Volkmar's argument.
Damn it,
Okay.
I'm agreeing with Volkmar.
He should have
No.
woken up by now, realistically. As far
She
as things
nods.
go.
So he should be awake by now.
In my professional opinion, yes.
Then let us repair to the Emperor,
Okay.
she says. Turns out being an Imperial Herald, who has a signed order from Karl Franz himself, grants you access to a lot of closed doors in the Imperial Palace. She can speak with the full authority of the Emperor. Obviously, no one expected the Emperor to be unconscious when she arrived, because she would have literally zero say, because the Emperor is the one that speaks, not her. But there is no Emperor because he's unconscious, so she currently has a surprising amount of leeway and freedom. It's legally dodgy. But there's no one here to counteract her.
Because they're all in the dungeon.
The law lord's on the outside.
Yeah.
Can't get into the palace
Oh, shame.
by the order of the Grand Master of the Reichsguard,
He's my money.
the Reichsmarshal. So, hey, she's pushing it for everything she can. Plus, yes, not much of a danger. After all, the good doctor has been allowed in there many times.
We literally saved the Emperor's life.
Yeah.
Like,
Just give Lucas a heads up.
Do Elrich's Sigmar shadows,
Pardon?
are they warded off by her?
Pardon?
Is 2 Sigmarites.
Yeah, they're not even in this part of the.
So they're
They're gone now.
told to fuck
They're,
off.
so, until they can try and catch up with you, they're not fine. They're not following you around. They're away at the moment. As he says, pardon, sir?
Just a heads up. I thought it might be a nice thing, but everybody else says it might not be a nice thing.
What?
I just want to pray if Aster is around. See, I'm glad I told you because that's a reaction that so
she's tending to the Emperor.
because of her expertise of that purple
In
brain
disease.
Right. Dr. Plaster.
Yes.
Right.
I've got some of my fortifying brandy in my pack. Do you want a bit of that?
Yes, please.
There we go. I'm not going to do you terrible person.
What was that?
She's pregnant.
Oh, Elrich. you
You
card.
cheeky monkey.
I think that would have killed Lucas, to be honest.
He's not having a good day.
Probably having a better day than the last 17.
Eventually, you are escorted by your Knights Panther to begin with through to where the Reichsguard hold court, effectively protecting the Emperor. 2 Knights of the High Helm are there also. And they do indeed make everyone in this party look short, even the very non-short ones.
I picked them.
Apparently. Obviously.
I'm going to ask them where they get the clothes, mate.
The Imperial Herald, the same way everyone else does, because no one gets off rat clothes in the Empire. Just get them made. The Imperial Herald has her paperwork checked twice, because the Knights of the High Helm don't believe her, and that's checked. And they have apparently a method of checking whether the seal
Really the silver
is really impressed by the silver seal. And indeed, as you see it, the entirety of the wax that's been impressed by it shimmers, causing them to immediately form the sign of the hammer on their chest and then bow down and let her pass. She has the authority of the Emperor. They go through. The Reichsguard, however, provide you with an escort the entire way, 3 flanking you to either side. Emmanuel Nah sits at the front of the party, leading it on. Just before you arrive, because you know exactly where they're going, because you've been here pretty much on and off for the last 2 weeks, she turns around and to the lead Reichsguard says, "So exactly how is Karl Franz?" And he goes, excuse me, Mom. How is he? You must have been in. And he says, no, only the doctors. Oh, I see. Only the doctors. Anyone else? He says, as far as I'm aware, Mom, it's just the doctors. And there are surely some guards in there as well. Well, occasionally. Thank you. She passes her way on, goes up to the door, and there, Reichsguard, see you, Doctor. You're not allowed to bring anybody else in. She says, I am the Imperial Herald, voice of the Emperor, Emmanuel Nacht. You will let me past. This is the second time where her paperwork is checked. And indeed, it glimmers. This entire party says, yes. Right you are, Mom. Passes to the side.
We're ladies.
Bringing you in to the Imperial bedchamber, where the very sickly Emperor, supposedly ensconced in a bed, presumably with a thermometer sticking out of his mouth, looking very ill. Yeah, totally a curtain tied over. Not true, as it turns out. Inside this room is Dr. Flaster, who is currently standing near the end of the bed, immediately turns round and sees all of you arriving, notes without her expression changing in the slightest, as if this is exactly what she expected to happen. Over from her, leaning on the window, is the Emperor.
Oh.
Up. On one side of him and the other is a Reichsguard looking over, both of them with their helmets off, one of them looking a little bit shakily, the other one almost beaming. He looks so happy, and he's desperately trying to suppress that grin. Desperately trying to suppress it.
Succeeded.
Enemy with it.
Over there on the other side of the room, with arms folded, is the Emperor's brother.
Oh, okay.
Who's sitting, leaning on the wall.
Things can't go this well for us.
I'm just,
This is, yeah.
Hope he knows I put his fires out. If it wasn't for me, he'd be burned to death.
He looks over, and Emmanuel Nacht comes in and says, Your Imperial Highness, may I present the Sturmjägers and, of course, myself, she says as she comes in. He turns round. His face, yes?
Does Emmanuel Nacht, in terms of like her demeanor, her heartbeat and stuff, does she seem surprised to see the Emperor up? Or did she know this already?
I thought you were going to say, does she seem to have massive balls? Yes, she does.
Empathetic, if that helps.
She doesn't appear to be surprised. As she stands back straight as his face turns round and it's hollowed cheeks. He looks, however, much healthier than you expected upon him standing, and much healthier than he did a week ago, where his face was still swollen and this eye could barely be seen.
I'm an excellent doctor.
You are. As Dr. Flaster raises up her hand, like so, and says, Do be quiet, please. We have to ensure that he is prepared for what he intends to do. Your Imperial Highness, can you stand unaided? As he pushes, he goes, and lets go of the window and looks out. Yes, I believe I can. He says, I believe I can. A man in his 30s, although at the moment he looks closer to his 40s. His hair, which when you first came here was entirely black, has some silver streaks sitting at the edge of it. My chest hurts. And she comes over, puts in a stethoscope, places it upon his chest, and taps it a couple of times. Your chest is clear. Don't be silly.
Miss Flaster.
Yeah. Her bedside manner is second to none.
As he looks over, silly. And she says, yes, your chest is absolutely clear. It's your muscles that are wasted, not your chest. Inhale properly. He means, oh, there's a wheeze. No, there's not a wheeze. Breathe properly. You're right. Yes, I know. He just looks at her.
Oh.
What happened to my last doctor? Oh, you know exactly what happened to your last doctor, so don't try to play silly buggers. Oh, no, that hurts. So this is the ones then? Yes, of course it's the ones, and you know it's the ones. No need to play. Can you be quiet for a moment? And she just nods once. Your Imperial Highness. What are you doing here, Nard? I'm your herald. What? He says, I'm your herald. No, I have a herald who announces me wherever I go. I don't have... it hasn't been since my grandfather, he says as he moves back. Oh, my legs feel like they're made of lead. He says, so you don't remember making me your herald? Marvellous. Marvellous, then I suppose we have a lot to talk about. After all, it was you that appointed me personally. Did I? I'm told it's late summer. Yes. I should swear it was winter. He says, oh dear. She says, oh dear. Was I that ill? Splaster says, yes, of course you were. It's exactly what I told you. Now, can you please sit down? There's no need to be gallivanting around. You're weak. Of course, Doctor, he says. Perhaps we should send in the sister. He says, no, we don't need the Shallians. We can't trust them. In fact, we can't trust anyone. She says, now sit down. And he sits down. Now, here. His glands aren't swollen. Oh, that is good.
Is she talking to Gerhard?
Yes, to Gerhard.
Oh.
Excellent, Gerhard. Yes.
And says, can you check his glands and his armpits, please?
If you would up, sir.
Do yourself a heal test.
Silly buggers.
See, they're very good or really bad.
Gerhard's
really
just,
good.
so chill. He's
Yep.
touching the Emperor. And he's just like, sir, put your hands up.
12 successes.
12 successes, very
What's
good.
You can tell he learned from Foster.
Byron?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Is he under?
Do yourself a perception test, please.
Should I have to?
Yes, you should. Just
Because when he perceives that they're all easy.
yeah, he still needs to do the test. Yeah, totally. I mean, right for
yeah.
Yeah, totally. He is awash with it. Absolutely awash with it. And in many respects, it shows you how weak he is. There's that much guy in him, and he's doddering around.
Can I ask the question that everyone in the chat will be wondering? Does he also have a raging heart on?
He does not. No. The Gyron is doing its job, and he's not that healthy, unlike Elrich, who's actually, in the great scheme of things, pretty healthy.
Quite.
Yeah.
In every sense.
Very healthy.
Although for more than 2 hours, I should see a doctor.
As you check over the Emperor, and he appears to be in fine fettle. All signs of the purple brain fever are gone, and none of his body is doing what it shouldn't be. It's good.
Good. Yep.
Yep, it's good. As he leans forward and he says, so how long am I going to be in bed? More medicine test.
Oh, medicine, when it's good again.
So's mine. I think between us we're going to do well.
Yep. 10.
Oh, I got higher, so that means +1 to her. Rather than +1 to you. Blaster wins the day this time. As she says, looks at you and says, I would imagine about 3 to 4 days before you're able to move freely. Says, and you were going to say pretty much then, yeah. You agree, maybe 5 days though, if he's wanting to make a full recovery.
I would agree, Doctor. Maybe 5 days, just in case.
She says, I agree, Doctor. She says, I recommend you stay in bed for a week. She says, take no light duties for 3 days. He says, no light duties for 3 days. After that, light duties, and then after a week, I can actually do my job. No. I need to do more than make. And he stops. Manuel Ferrand. Yes. Says, this is the wands. Did you tell me about? Yes. He says, well, my first. As he moves. You sure it's only going to be a week? Oh, yes. She says, and if you're complaining after a week, that'll be a you problem, not a me problem. She says, God's woman. Doctor, she says. Yeah.
I hope we're all managing to keep a straight face.
Cool test for anyone who thinks they won't.
Oh no.
Sigmar finds this hilarious.
It's not a fumble, but
not a pass.
it was a fail.
4 successes.
I think even with advantage, I don't think that was a.
He says, get a table out, will you please, Emmanuel Ferrand? Get them sat around it, because I want to know everything.
If I had advantage, it was a very good pass.
Yeah, sadly no. The table was pulled out. What does everything mean to the Sturmjägers?
What Emmanuel Ferrand and Emmanuel Nash are going to tell us.
No, that's you who are being asked to speak.
Hey.
So, what does the party tell him?
Well, it would be silly not to tell him the things we've told Emmanuel Ferrand and Emmanuel Nash.
Okay.
So we pick up what we left in Katrina's place and then dump it on the table in front of him.
Same.
Okay, so the same general information.
Yeah.
Skaven, doubles. Are we talking about that? You know, Emmanuel Ferrand knows about it.
Peter.
I think that
No, I think so. Like,
I think we should tell him that there are doubles. No, I think that we should tell him that there are doubles, that there were beastmen underneath who were trying to control people, and that the threat was resolved. And we don't tell him exactly who the doubles were.
Yeah, we just don't tell
only really important.
So what happens when he asks you directly?
We just have to tell him.
There's a sort of look at Matt, and Alala Minowaz just goes, you,
Yeah.
possibly Boris, maybe Katerina, and she's just out with it. Oh well, it's been said now. Important people. Countess Emmanuel. Yeah, she's
He's
out
gonna
with it.
know.
Yeah.
Louis Leoncourt.
Luon Leonkar, good one. So that's good. So
the horse lord doing it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Not that we saw him, we just think he's mad. We're just purely basing it off speculation.
that is 100% true. Excellent. So we are talking about the Purple Hand and their plot. And their plot was to obviously weaken, replace the Emperor with their own double or something. Whatever it was they were also attempting to do elsewhere. That, that has unfolded. I love it. And Wittgenstein, who he knows,
He's given the writ to, right?
yeah, he's spoken to him directly when he first became emperor. Wittgenstein came to him. So he knows him. And to hear that he's the head of this cult, his words, doesn't surprise me. Moving on from that,
Does he know about Liebersreich and that stuff?
no, he had no idea. So
No, but we will be telling him
Okay,
that
fine.
part of the reason we think it was initiated was because your father was investigating the Purple Hand
Yep.
and was
Yeah.
found out.
right, so
Yeah.
the Purple Hand plot
Yes,
is laid
it's
out
part
in
of
front
it,
of you.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was dynamic, wasn't it? Because it messed up the graph, but it also then sent Emmanuel Nash
The
down
possibility of Red Crown influence on top of that as well, I presume you'll be mentioning, because that was around the possibility there's still Purple Hand agents in the city.
probability, in fact, near certainty.
Excellent.
Wolfgang become the heir after he lost his memory? Like,
Yeah, when
since
was
the
Wolfgang
winter?
declared heir?
Before.
Before. So that's,
Yeah.
that's a bad choice from his
Wolfgang
part.
was Wolfgang was brought in because of issues with his son, which involved that person.
Yes.
If we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that part.
And it wasn't me.
And you know that. No, it wasn't. No, of course it wasn't. It was Leopold.
Now I
who did
don't
it.
have to feel guilty about that.
Leopold the son. Not Leopold the More than one.
I wasn't
Leopold.
there.
Okay, good. So, two cults and Skaven attempts to control the Empire also, both of which have been stymied by yourselves. As the Emperor listens to it all, and as the last bits are slowly but surely laid before him, and the awareness of the state his empire is in, from having just been out of it for just, some 8-9 months. But that should also count. He has been underneath cult control in one form or another for the last age. As he turns around to his brother, and he goes, Manuel Ferrand. And he goes, yes. And he goes, summon the Electors.
Hello, I'm Ed. I play Gerhardt. This is LAWhammer. It's the break. While you're on break, go over to our Discord. Follow that stuff. Like if you're watching this on YouTube. Is there a break on YouTube? Yeah, there's a break on YouTube. I'm a break on YouTube. If you have the time and energy and cash, go over to Patreon. A large portion of that's free. Rules, maps, some nudie photos of me hidden somewhere. Yeah, that's right, go check it out. And then behind the paywall is the nudie photos of everybody else. Lovely stuff. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Altdorf is quiet. And it's not quiet because it's nighttime, because let's be honest, it's a city that never sleeps. It's quiet because it's in martial lockdown. Not only have the Reichsguard been sent into the city, but the state armies of Altdorf and Reichland have been called by the Emperor. This has obviously caused some issues, because at least a selection of the Reichland forces are currently in rebellion. Three weeks ago, you told the Emperor pretty much everything. And the Emperor made a decision that he was now going to speak to the Electors. Question is, how many of them turn up? As you all heal, some of you faster than others. Your ankle never really feels as good as it could do. It didn't break, sadly. If it had broken, it probably would have been easier to heal. It's still a bit sore. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks later.
It's fine. I can put my weight through it.
At least it's no longer bruised all the way past your hip.
Yes.
Your skull has been tended to by Flaster and is in good place. Your bone, which broke in your leg, pretty good place. Your head no longer feels sore at all. You had 2 days. You had 2 days of feeling woozy, but that passed. And after that, we have been in the palace, absorbing gossip, hearing everything that's passing. And are all the Elector counts coming? Well, word hits the palace pretty quickly when various parties start arriving. First, within a day of news being spread from Altdorf, the arrival of the Countess of Num, who happened to be just slightly south of Altdorf at about this time. So
For no reason.
She's here to pick up flights.
she has taken up a floor in the Imperial Hotel. She is not even sitting in her own palaces, and has taken over one floor at the top down by the Reich side of the river, and does not intend to come to the palace until the conclave of the Elector Count. So, one is definitely here. As to whether she'll come or not, that's not quite as certain. However, word comes through from the Knights Panther that Boris intends to come.
Of course it does.
Of course she does.
Well, his daughter's here.
We assume he knows that by now.
Oh, he'll know now. Fully aware of that. So Boris is rumoured to be coming, but doesn't arrive until the very day of the meeting itself. A day that you know you're going to get summoned up before them too. But there are others. Hans Hals of Ostland. He was very recently nigh on invading Altdorf. Does he come or does he withdraw? No, he comes. There's a lot of rumour in the palace that Stirland won't be coming. Their young Elector Count is not known for travelling. His brother, younger brother, has partly been disinherited, leaving just himself to be the only ruler. His marshal, the Stir Marshal Hege, he is rumoured to be coming in his stead. Turns out not to be true. The young Elector Count arrives with 2 days to go. His banners flying and over 7,000 soldiers, which he publicly gifts to the Emperor in this time of discord.
Well,
No.
Before he even arrives at the palace, he sets up court over in one of his palaces in Altdorf.
What's his name?
I'll get to that in a moment because it's just slipped my mind.
How does it feel?
Haupt
Andy?
Anderson. There we go. Haupt Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Anderson.
Oh, no, we don't need that.
What good is a phone call?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
he's stirred.
Along with the Elector Count of Middenheim comes Elrich, the new Elrich, the father of the previous Elrich.
Father.
The fad.
The father.
Oh my gosh.
It was well believed that the young Emil Valgir would become the next Elrich, but no, the far older Emil Valgir takes it. Jarek Valgir, who was the now dead Elrich, was in his 40s. His father is in his 60s, a shock of white hair. He was a white wolf in retirement, and his anger at what had happened to his son brought him out of retirement, and he defeated his way up to becoming the next Elrich. His own grandson bared his throat to him. The stories are that he's a wolf and a monster, and that one should not cross the new Elrich.
That's Midland, yeah.
That's Middenheim. Middenland definitely comes. That's Grand Duke Leopold of House Bildhofen, the same house as Magnus the Pious. The good Grand Duke sets up his banners and arrives about a week after the call, coming up from Karaberg. It's very close to Altdorf. It's a neighbouring princedom, two principalities right beside each other. And down they come. How about Talabicland? Will any of them come? There's two Elector Counts there. One in Talabheim, one in Talabicland. In Talabicland, the Krieglitzes send their Elector Count. His banners are all up, flapping in the wind. All the yellow and blue, it's yellow and blue, yellow and red for Talabicland, as I recall. Yellow and red banners. And then, of course, we have Talabheim, the Krieglitz Unterns. Does she arrive? Yes, she does. 2 days before the meeting's called, the banners of Talabheim arrive as well, along with a host of Hochland soldiers in support. On the day of the meeting, the banners of Averland arrive. Their aging Elector Countess of House Alttraum is being carried in a great sedan into the city.
I was like, who's knocking? Oh, it's you.
No one's knocking, just me walking along.
Making a swerve around them.
Carried.
whereas-
Carried by 40 very large men as she's taken in, flanked by knights on either side. She is escorted by the most colourful knights that the Empire can have, each one of them sporting often 5 to 20 different puffs and curls, twists and ribbons. The knights of Averland are something to be seen. But these are the frippery knights, as they are referred to by the Nullners. The ones from the north, not the horse lords of the south. There is word that Marius Altdorf of Averland, the previous Elector Count twice before, has also arrived in Altdorf, along with 5 of the southern horse lords. And they have declared that they are, in fact, representing Averland. Marius Altdorf is Averland. He proclaims it in the very centre of the Königsplatz, sitting at the top of the street of 100 taverns with his arms up in the air, shouting, and I quote, I am the Elector Count. His blonde hair billowing in the wind. No one cares.
Does he do any of the, like, trying to buy public favour like he did in Nuln stuff here?
Not that you hear of. From what you hear, at best he got a tomato thrown at him. His appearance in Altdorf was somewhat less dramatic than what he had done down in Nuln.
Fair. I mean, he's less of a threat to Altdorf, right?
Yeah, he is.
Some nays as catapults.
Sigmar is sending all 3 of their electors. The Grand Theogenist, of course. The Archlector of Talabheim and the Archlector of Nuln. That's Caslane and Aglin, who are also going to attend. We have a pretty full house. Now, have I missed anyone? Yes! Sudenland. The Elector Countess of Sudenland. Has she managed to make it past the Countess?
That's the blockade.
She appears in the north of the city 2 days before the meeting and makes her way to the palace, where she receives the open invitation of the Emperor and sets herself up in the palace, unlike all the other Elector Counts, who all of them sit on the outside. She comes in immediately and takes the protection that the palace offers. It's well known that her lands are embattled, and possibly, if the rumours are true, literally at war with the Countess. Sudenland was massively damaged not that long ago. Its capital flattened, and they have been on the retreat for several years. And the Countess apparently is just mopping up down there, according to the rumour that you've heard.
Yeah, I mean, from Leopold's perspective, he was expecting Sudenland to be pacified by now.
It is not, because she's come. And
Well, I
she
mean,
is
that
here.
doesn't mean her land isn't pacified.
That is also true. Electra Countess of House Toppenheimer.
Which about the Mootland? Did he have one?
The Elder of the Moot.
Yep.
His me stout heart. He arrives a full week before everything's ready. Because he was already on his way up to Altdorf. I'd heard there being trouble. It's he arrives. He came by barge. He barged up with some of his friends. They got themselves a rather meager hostel over in Hafenstad. He stayed with his cousin after that. And he'll wander up with his pipe to the palace on the day of the actual meeting itself. I think we've done them all.
I think we're missing one. I've got 14.
Ulrich, Sigmar,
I've got
Sigmar.
16.
Averland, we've done, yes?
Both elements.
Yeah.
No, there's only one Averland.
But there's
A second Averland, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Midheim, Midland, Talabecland,
13.
Talabheim, Sur, Moot, Nuln, Stirland. Did Stirland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Ostland, Sigmar,
Ostland.
and then
Ostland.
oh yeah, Hans Hals of Ostland. I didn't write.
Oh,
it
yes,
down.
you did. That
Yes,
was
I did.
number 3.
And then of course Karl Franz himself.
Awesome.
that's 50.
That's
Yep, that's them all.
17 of them.
You've counted wrong.
Supernumerate!
One of them does include the other avalanche.
15 plus 1.
Yeah,
Which
fine.
is
Yeah.
17.
No. Because I've doubled up on the avalanche. That's fine.
That's still 15 plus 1.
That's the plus 1.
Oh. Well, here we go.
Who have you got?
You can use a calculator.
So we've got Jim,
No,
we've got Mary.
Great axe.
Number 1, Nuln. Number 2, Boris. Number 3, Hans Holz. Ostland, thank you. Number 4, Stirland. 7,000 troops. Number 5, Middenheim.
No.
Middenheim is
Just
Boris.
our Ulrich.
Oh,
Boris is
Ulrich
Middenheim.
isn't anybody really.
No,
No,
our
Ulrich
is
is
a
an electric out.
Oh, is he like
Yes.
count?
Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
but when
Elector.
Andy said Middenheim brought our Ulrich, Middenheim's
Oh.
already accounted for as
Well, I
Boris.
thought that was Boris. Yeah.
So
that confused
you
me.
just
I'm not
need to
gonna
add 1 for our Ulrich.
lie. That's fine. He's got his own line. So I'm still not on the count.
Yeah.
Midland.
Yep.
The Bill Hoffens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 7, Talabheim.
Yep.
Krieglitz. Krieglitz, yes, well done.
Talabheim's Krieglitz Unturned, isn't it?
Count.
Talabheim
Countess,
Krieglitz in
yep.
turn. Talabeckland is Krieglitz.
Talabheim did that one. Thank you. Got that one too. So that's number 8. Avaland 1, which is the older countess born on the
Yep.
sedan.
An
It's a
Avaland.
heavy car to carry.
An Averland 2, which
Avaland
doesn't
2,
count.
Southern Horse Lord.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. That's fine. So that
Point that you've got 16 lines here. Oh, and 17 is
17,
empty.
17 is the Emperor.
So why are you saying you...
No, you're still on track.
can't lie.
You're
Yeah,
still on track.
yeah, yeah.
Keep on going.
3 from the Sigmar people,
Yep,
right?
correct.
G-Thog, Lector, or whatever they're called.
Yep.
Archlector,
Thank you.
Nuln and Carroburg.
I've read them as Lictor, they're just massive Tyranids. 14,
How long have I been asleep?
Sudenland,
That's
the Elector
Toppenheimer?
Countess, who is the one who's at war with Nuln,
No,
right?
that's 13.
No, because we got 3 from
No.
the Sigmar. So
Averland was 9,
Ah.
then 10, 11, 12, the Sigmarites.
See, Avaland
Then
2 is throwing
13
me off.
is Sudenland. Then
Yeah.
14 is
Then
the Elder of the
Toppen-
Moon.
Toppenland.
Toppenland, well then, Toppenheimer.
Toppenheimer, thank you. I got a little bit. Then Stoutheart.
Then Stoutheart.
Yeah.
14.
Oh, Stoutenland.
And then Karl Franz for 15.
See, all my things are there. I just don't know where I've got lost. That's fine.
Oh, I love it.
Gerhardt is supernumerate, Ed is not.
All right. I think it's time for
I think I'm bang on.
everyone to be
You're
ready
wrong.
for Conclave Day.
Can I wear my armour now?
Yeah, good
Cool.
idea.
There's a few things that need to be said. Number 1, the palace has you under the most gentle but definitely firm house arrest. You're not leaving the palace because they are quite concerned for your health at the moment. And they are, by Emperor's order, convinced that there is going to be an attempt on your life. The palace security has been significantly upped. You have seen the Reichsmarshal blustering around the place, shouting and ordering others around at quite some remarkable pace. Somewhat confused at just how different Karl Franz is acting.
Act casual, everybody. It's fine.
Fortunately, we are thus given much of the palace's services to get ourselves well dressed. If, for example, one comes from the colleges, they will expect you, because you're about to be meeting the Elector Counts, the royalty of the entirety of the empire, to represent the colleges. But the colleges are currently also sort of in lockdown. So there's no handy brief by Thyras Gorman. That would have been great. What should you or shouldn't you say? Yeah, no, none of that at all. Thyras Gorman's locked in his college at the moment. Leaving you,
Gorman's briefs. Got it.
leaving you to be sent clothes from the college along with a letter that's quite short from the Supreme Patriarch of the 8 Colleges of Magic. And it says,
Don't fuck up.
Wizard Grumfeld, you will do us proud.
Oh,
Thyras Gorman.
Oh. Kiss, kiss.
And that's it.
So it's
Cross that
interesting.
wizard and write magister. Question mark.
Send it back.
I love the fact you guys read that as like an affirmation. I read that as an order.
I
Norman,
read
that
it-
is
no,
it. Yeah.
no, I read it as an affirmation because that's what Elrich did, and I'm trying to support him.
Yes.
No.
And now you've broken that support.
The Knights Panther spend money. And throughout the course of the almost 3 weeks up to it, armor is forged for you.
Oh, finally. Fabulous.
And you are presented in the very best that the Knights Panther can offer. Run round is done amongst most of the captains, all of whom are captains of their own vessels, all of whom have rights to plunder at sea, all of whom are richer than the Emperor. They are rich.
My peeps.
And you are representing them in many respects. They have met with Boris Todbringer. They just gave Katerina back, didn't change anything, and all of them have crowns on their shields. All of them.
No surprise there.
Of the 500 knights that were in Altdorf before, now 350 are personal honor guard for Elector Count Boris Todbringer in the north.
Thank you. Nice one, Boris.
But why? Otherwise, dies inside.
I want to know.
New long-term ambition.
The opposite is the case for the good father, who has none of his own order to represent him, and apparently none of the Sigmarites are coming to speak to him.
Yes, like everyone's gonna think. I feel like it's a little suspicious. Like, how often have I forgotten his name now? Werner, the High Capitular for Midnight, is never where I am.
Are you?
Are you Werner?
No, but like, I managed to catch up with him once in Midnight, but then every other time he wasn't in Midnight because he was in Altdorf, and now we get to Altdorf and he's not fucking here. Like, where is he?
I mean, it's kind of understandable why he's not an Altdorf, though. No, actually, no, he's a Sigmarite. No, never mind.
No, I mean, he might
Yeah.
got blown up in the cathedral.
Dodgy.
I'm sure somebody would have told me.
Quite.
Yeah.
By comparison, you are obviously not recognised by the Nipponese embassy, and they definitely don't ensure that you are dressed the very best you possibly can be, as they sit there with their backs to you, giving orders to the palace staff as to how exactly you should be dressed. And turning around occasionally and sniffing whenever something is done incorrectly. Sometimes making sure that they do it correctly. Until eventually they look at you through mirrors and they are happy with how you appear on the day.
Nice. They did say we might hear word by this point, right? It's been weeks now.
It has.
But have they said anything of the sort? Like, has there been news?
There has
from
been
Harbour?
no news at all. None. Gerhardt, you have the palace facilities at your disposal to dress yourself the best that you possibly can.
How long have we got?
About 3 weeks.
Oh, library. For just.
The palace has no library.
What? What is this place?
It doesn't need a library. There's a Temple of Rena for that.
I thought you said library.
Is the zoo within
Must be like a little personal.
The zoo is not within their province, although there is a lovely botanical garden at
Like-
the back of the palace.
Surely
Look
one of
at
the
her
emperors was
movements.
like Barry the Well-Read or something like that.
and Barry Old, the well-read, recused himself to the Temple of Rena.
Yes. Okay, fine.
If we've got a few weeks. You may have time to check out the botanical gardens to make sure there isn't any, angry spirits that might let elves appear down here, just in case. Bearing in mind what it was at midnight.
Oh, like a
Yeah,
tree.
really not anything
Good.
like
I mean,
that there.
unlikely.
They do, however, have plants from around the world, some of which are gloriously odd, some of which can eat a man.
Wow.
Quite.
Not a lady though.
Well,
You're very discerning.
you're fine.
Did they
all
ever?
about the
Did
penis.
the Nipponese ever send a gift plant tree?
Would it be an offshoot of?
No.
No.
But considering that everything is spiritual in the pond, she will still pay her respects at that.
Absolutely.
No, don't look at me like
No, you've summoned a demon.
that.
You pay your respects.
Oh.
Good. And we are all dressed in our very best.
Do I not get clothes?
No.
Her
That
old
is your very
Alamenowite,
best.
Scarves,
her
scarves
old
everywhere.
Alamenowite doesn't get access to her Imperial Court. Pardon me, her Imperial Court, that Wood Elf Court.
Oh.
The Aeonir, if they get their hands on her, will be spiriting her away.
Mhm.
And indeed, there has been multiple requests. Her own grand-nephew arrives about 2 days before the meeting to have a direct word with the Emperor and gets granted an audience and leaves the same day. You do not know what was said there.
He probably told them I was senile and I had to come home and I was out of my off my medication.
Albrecht.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently, senile, off their medication elves are very good at rescuing emperors in bad places. So, if they want to be left to their own devices, so be it, because you are not sent away.
I guess I'll just brush up what I've got.
Yeah, you and me both. We'll be the scruffy members of the party.
I did get some nice stuff in Middenheim from Alavandrel, so check out
Katarina
that.
maybe not
I
having
was
a
going to say
Katarina?
Catarina could lend you some.
Yeah, it's just she's such a weird figure.
Yeah,
In that she's so
Wow,
thin.
body shame.
Yeah, it's so
Not
so
gonna wear
thin.
human clothes.
Yeah, exactly. And none of the clothes that she has are going to fit. They could commission something directly, but it'd be made by
Scarves.
humans, and it would be
Bullshit.
It
Yeah.
would be scratchy.
What
Yeah,
about
quite.
the nice
Stick the
outfit
leaves
you
on.
wore to get your Ulrich Award?
Yeah, I've got some clothes with me. I just, they're not like new. They just
Oh.
need to be.
alrighty. I think we're good.
Just to clarify,
Yes.
because I went for books, that one here. Gerhardt will not be wearing Ubis, Reichian livery.
Okay,
Or
so
young
that
Freud
not the young
livery.
Freud livery.
Yeah.
So not wearing which by law he has to
Oh.
if he is of that family.
Well, yeah, it's, if I'm presenting myself as that.
Yeah, well, it's not so much. It's just you are. It's not. I present as a man. That's who you are. If you don't do it, you're saying you're not.
You can't be like a doctor present. You have to be your family.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You can't avoid it. Sadly.
Fine. When we'll have
And
a-
plus, you'll have obviously the guild rankings as well for the.
Does he have to
Physicians
wear
Guild.
it prominently though?
yeah.
Oh, no, it doesn't have
So
to
you
be
can wear
prominent.
like other clothes and have like a band
Absolutely.
or something.
Yeah, I'll have just a little bit of turquoise thrown in, right? That's the kind
And
of turquoise and silver.
you
Yeah.
just need to have your family badge when you're in the palace. Your heraldry, pardon me.
It's like the best protection you've got.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, why?
Oh, there's-
Why
Because
not?
if you're not Gerhardt of House Youngfreud,
Who are you?
darling, you're nobody.
I'm wearing my house, Steve.
You're nobody.
Jerry the Badger.
And
Jerry
also-
the Badger.
Prime Inquisitor
No,
meets.
but in terms of imperial society,
Yeah. I'm Tullis Havenshire.
what? Pardon?
It's my new name. I've been thinking about it.
Pardon, say it again.
Tullis
Pardon?
Havenshire.
Why?
You trying to be Bretonian?
No, not at all. Just I like the way it sounds.
Just be God.
I've been looking at books, reading some books, some stuff.
You don't even know you're not him. You've got all his memories.
You got his patent of nobility.
Yeah, I know. But
That's what saved you this far.
So we're calling you.
Fine,
For
no.
short,
Ugh.
we're calling you
God.
Tullis.
God.
if you wish.
Short for turns.
Terhart. Let's combine the two.
I feel like there's a lot more important things going on.
No, but it is quite important if he's
No,
gonna-
it would whether
I'll
whatever
present-
name he wants to use.
I'll present as Gerhardt. Fine.
Okay.
If you cannot,
just in a
Get on
world in
board.
which the people in power are going to know about the existence of doubles who can take people's place, we may not want to foreground the fact.
there I am.
Well, one.
Better,
meeting.
Better reasoning. Yes, I understand. I agree with you there.
That's what I was trying to say. I made
I
it
know.
too complicated.
I know.
again.
I understood that.
Thank
by the
you.
way.
The
Thank you.
Countess will
Fine.
recognize him though.
But it doesn't matter. There's deniability. Look, we don't know if he's the real one or not. Let's just keep it that way. We'll never know.
And we'll
The
tell
meeting-
them the blessed ones.
Oh, no, it's fine.
So,
The meeting
One of
starts
these days.
at the first bell in the afternoon. And as the single bell toll rings out across the city, the Elector counts file in, along with all of their staff and everyone else who apparently attends these meetings. You're not there, so you don't get to see who goes in. You don't see the pennants being taken, being placed up. You don't see all of the rune fangs You don't see the Warhammer itself.
Oh no! Bang! Bang!
Oh.
Are you bringing Barracool?
We don't
We
have
don't
it.
have
It got stolen, remember?
Somebody stole it.
Thinking me? Thinking me?
Somebody stole it.
What if it's there when we go in?
Oh.
And it's 3 hours 27 minutes before the first major, clearly significant event occurs. And that is the removal of almost everybody from the Vauxhall. And the call for the Sturmjägers. As it passes through the palace, call the Sturmjägers! Call the Sturmjägers! Call the Sturmjägers! Until eventually a palace official comes over and says, "You have been summoned by the Emperor. Follow me."
Time for us to start strutting to little green bag.
Can we expect sort of like what are we going to say? What are they going to ask us? Do we know? Has anyone
You've
told
no
us anything?
idea.
They've not
Okay.
briefed us at all.
No.
Let's just wing it like we always do.
How are we meant to? How do we refer to these people? Like, we'll know that, right?
Your Royal Highness or your Imperial Highness for the Emperor.
Okay, that'll do.
My
They...
dude.
And is that consistent, or does it change to
Oh,
sir?
yes.
Sir and Madam after the first instance. So you don't need to worry about the titles after the first time you say it. Just Sir, Madam after
That's
that.
fine. That's fine.
And of course, there's also the Elder of the Moot, who is not a Royal Highness. He's just a Sir, and he might tell you not to say that. And then, of course, there's also the Electors, the Archlectors, and the Grand Theologians, and Elrich, all of whom have their own individual titles. Just to make your life a little bit
But
easier.
are they Sir after?
Pardon?
Are they Sir after? Like,
No, they're never Sir.
they're always.
Your Holiness?
They're always Your Holiness or
Holiness.
whatever
Just don't
equivalent.
refer to
Exactly.
anyone specifically. Just speak in general
Just
terms.
speak when we're spoken to. Answer direct
Your
questions.
revered Holiness, in
Call
fact, for the
everyone my dude.
Archlector.
Revered
It'll be fine.
holiness
Yes,
for the Archlectors and for the Grand Theologianist.
Your Holiness.
Just holiness.
Just Holiness. He
Interesting.
doesn't take on airs and graces.
What about our own?
And they did for Luke.
I did, Father.
I did.
What? That's confusing.
Yeah. R. Ulrich on first instance, and then always High Den Father. Just to be fucking annoying. That's assuming that they're following protocol. Often R. Ulrich doesn't. But if you're following it, which you should, that's what you're meant to do.
And with the holiness and revered holinesses, did they become high fathers?
No,
No, they just remain holinesses and revered holinesses.
Yes, yes, revered holiness. Yes, revered holiness. It's a tongue twister. Revered holiness. Revered holiness.
Or just, or yes.
You're meant to, at the end of each major sentence, end it with it.
Just mumble incoherent.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Could I quickly do a blessing before we go in?
If you wish to do a blessing before you go in, I'm totally cool with that.
I'd like to do a quick divination. Is this one very
On
much
yourself,
on myself this time? Yes.
Okay, how's it going to turn out for me?
It's going to turn out very well.
Okay, the bones all scatter down, and
Still really bad.
Where'd they go?
the bones,
What's that?
turmoil, horror.
That's the exact same roll twice.
Yeah, I see something.
Oh,
Well, I'm going to warn everyone of that.
It's a bad reading.
oh, Lord.
Fuck.
That's not what we want to hear when we're about to
She's
do.
back going, right, guys. I've just done a reading,
Turmoil, kids.
and it's going to be awful.
It's going to be bad.
You all cool? Let's go in.
Turn around.
But I'm going to be in there, so you can't be saying turmoil in there.
Yeah, sure.
Or that's not how
I mean-
it works.
What? Rude.
Not how it works.
Yeah, no, I know.
What? If she died in there, I wouldn't know the turmoil was there after she was dead.
Yes, it was just her. Because you can't read her at all.
No, but if my point is, I'm not reading her. But if she were dead, would I be able to know that there were turmoil there?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she's a blank spot, and everything
But if she
around
was
her
to-
is a blank spot.
But once she was dead, if
Yes.
then there was turmoil,
Then if there was turmoil separate to that,
Yeah.
no, totally.
No,
That's
but I mean,
fine.
like, she
yeah.
goes in, she gets killed, turmoil happens.
Well, the turmoil you could read, assuming there was extra turmoil.
Yeah.
But if it was just her, you get
Well,
nothing.
that's it. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't even just her. It was bringing her in the turmoil.
Then yes,
Stop saying
absolutely.
turmoil.
The word is lost all
It's
meaning.
become meaningless.
I might do a little blessing as well, actually.
Okay.
Kind of all of that.
Yes, I failed.
He's too nervous, can't quite remember the pair. And then Renal did something. I can't remember what Renal did. Oh no!
That was fine.
What would be a good one to do? Willpower, maybe? Blessing of courage. This feels like we're frightened. I think a blessing of courage might be right.
I'm pretty frightened.
Okay, say some prayers to Sigmar. Give everyone a blessing of courage beforehand. How many are you giving it off to?
So that will be to 3 other people.
So who are you going to do? Maybe.
Who looks most in need of courage?
He was completely confident.
Leopold.
I'm feeling good. Don't do me. Don't do me.
Really?
Yeah.
You might do him anyway.
You look frightened. Do you like it? I'll give you a little. I'm going to sneakily give one to Gerhard when he's still looking for a little holy tap. And who else? Yeah, maybe Alamena White. She looks frightened. Barney's like so inspirational. I'm like, she's fine. She's making me feel
She
confident.
looks pretty amazing in her full
And this
Knights
guy.
Panther. With a
Wild
panther
card,
pelt.
bitches.
Well, it's more
Yeah.
like people literally sees Elrich
Sigmar's
as the
not going to
best
help
thing.
him.
No, it's more like, well, fuck yeah, that also might have gone really badly. I didn't even think about that.
What?
It's a good job you did it to the elf instead.
Yeah, Sigmar clearly has no
Sigmar
problem with elf
loves me.
witches.
Quietly, good for your elf. Okay, so
Nice.
with that all done and in place, it is time for us to approach the Foxhammer. On the outside, the main doorway in is closed. You are all broadly aware of what the Foxhammer represents from the inside. It's an octagonal building, and a big one at that. That apparently the Elector counts gather in whenever they need to do anything that's important for them. It's also where the Reichland Diet gather. So where all the prime estates of the Reichland dukes, counts, et al. Gather to pass Reichland law and approve anything that the prince, the emperor also being Prince of Altdorf, to pass, and also Prince of Reichland. He's like a double prince, prince and emperor. That happens in there, but it's also where the prime estates of the entire empire gather as well. So every single important noble from across the empire gathers here to ratify what the emperor puts in place. It is a very important building, and it can hold hundreds and hundreds of people. Obviously, when it's just being used for elector counts, there's far fewer needed in terms of space. You don't know how big it is inside, unless you happen to have been visiting the Foxhall at any particular point.
The flashback that we had to that wasn't a vision, was it? So we haven't seen that.
You've been in there.
Was it? That was the fuck all.
Have I?
I thought you were in the we went in.
The Foxhole? When did we find the Foxhole?
When you were there and Ume's mom was there. Remember?
That wasn't Alan.
That wasn't Alamenoid.
Was another one?
No.
I thought there was
No,
another
we did.
No, that was a different
we
one.
did-
That was Salza
That
von
was Salsa
Uland.
von Uland.
Sounds of one.
And that
Yes.
wasn't a vision.
It
that was
wasn't a
just
vision. None of us saw that.
Right, so the Vauxhall.
Okay.
The main doorways leading in are inscribed with prayers to Sigmar. Wrapped on scrollwork around one big hammer on one side and a great comet, twin-tailed, on the other. To either sides are great carvings of griffins. And across the top, it says the Hall of the People. Or the nobles.
People, right? It's fine. It's
On the outside, just two halberdiers stand, wearing the white of Altdorf. Like so. No? Do I always get those back to front?
Reichland's white.
Reichland's white, white, whatever. Donk!
No.
Yeah.
Two stormtroopers.
They're wearing red, blue, and white just to
The white
confuse you.
of
specifically.
Reichland. There we go. No, they're in white. The white of Reichland. The red and the blue of Altdorf. Oh, how many times have I written that? You think I'd know that by now? Donk. As they see you, one puts up his hand and says, "Go white, please." And off to the side, an actual Imperial Herald, wearing the tabard and the red and blue of Altdorf, a floppy hat and a big red feather on it, and a scroll which he holds, looks over, checks that the 6 before him are indeed the 6 that he expects, looks, and looks at you and says, Lord Gerhardt of Herschel,
Yes.
Wizard. Looks up. Elrich. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Elrich.
Elrich Grunfeld.
Of the Bright College?
Bright College.
Good. Oh, dear. Princess. Thank goodness. Yummy?
Nice.
He says.
Ume.
Ume. Of House Koyushika?
Koishikawa.
Koishi. Excuse me. Goes in here, pulls out a quill. Koishikawa.
Koishikawa, yes.
Koishikawa. I'm just going to spell it as it sounds. Koishikawa. Koi.
This guy's diligent.
I don't think they know by
Good.
now, Alexi's been here.
Maybe he's new.
This you think they know, but this clearly has not been publicly organised, and it's obvious. This is just he's just been given this. As he looks over to you and goes, "High Father Leopold, Order of the Silver Flame." Correct. That's not incorrect.
That's correct.
Oh. Lady Knight. And looks up at you. Oh, yes. Looks back down again. Brunhilde?
Brunhilde Birgitte.
Brunhilde Birgitte of House Helston.
Helston, yes.
Good. And Princess Alamenowith, the Witch of the Wood.
Whoopsie daisy.
He says, and gulps. Is that correct?
I don't usually use which of them. Princess Alamenowith Shadowvale.
Oh, right. Shadow Veil. I presume that's not spelt in some strange way.
No,
Good.
you are right to assume.
Right. Looks around. Good. Then goes up.
Is there an order that we're entering?
As he announces, as I assume.
He turns around and he says, have you been told the proper protocol?
No.
No.
He looks round. No, this is not my job. He says, when your name is called, you walk in. You step forward, you will see that there is a small imperial eagle on the floor, carved in gold. You walk to that point and stop. You then bow once, and you wait until you are asked a question. You say nothing. Anyone who gives you a question, you are allowed to look at directly. In the Volkshalle, all people are equal. They're not. But that is the standard rule, which means that you are allowed to give complete eye contact. You do not need to if you do not want to, although it is considered rude if you do not. Obviously, there are certain considerations here. He says, perhaps a method of showing your attention. A lift of the head, for example. When you are dismissed, you do not need to back out of the room as you would need to do in the throne room. Here you are considered equal with everyone whilst within the Volkshalle. You may turn on the spot and leave. If you wish to back out, you can do so if you wish. There is no real proprietary as it's understood in the throne room. So you don't need to follow the standard protocol. It is almost like an informal meeting between friends. Indeed, that is what it represents, Sigmar and his companions, meeting as friends, even though they were all, each of them, chieftains of their own tribes. But here, they could relax and speak their mind as they needed to. This is the Hall of the People. It has moved around the Empire, but this is the site of the original Volkshalle of Sigmar himself. Or so they say. 2,500 years can bring mistakes, I presume. Never mind. He says, are you all ready?
Yes.
As it'll ever be.
He takes out a small mace, thin, with a claw at the top of it, and bangs twice on an area you can see that's quite dented on the door, and waits with his hand up. And waits. And waits. Until eventually you hear, "Summon the Imperial Herald!" He stiffens his back slightly.
We all do too.
As the doors open in front, and he strides in, moves to the side, stops. And you can see shafts of light coming from the surrounding windows in the great octagonal hall ahead of you. Directly across from where you are, there is a gap of about a good Leopold. It's about that long. And then a great circular table can be seen just beyond that gap, seats all around the table. And on the opposite side is the throne of Karl Franz, where he is sitting in his throne, higher than all the rest of them, and separated from the table as if he's some sort of judge.
Equal.
Equal, yeah.
Completely. Some sort of judge over the surrounding others who are at the table, separated from them by a good 2 Leopolds. That's the new.
I love
You
that.
know,
It becomes a new standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Birdies, and now it's Leopold.
It's Leopold.
It's because you're an even
1,
number,
2.
and I'm not.
Yeah.
Quite.
And he's saying good Leopold as opposed to shadow Leopold.
That's the 2 Leopolds. The chairs are each occupied by one of the electors. We'll get to that when you move in, and I'll tell you where they all stand. Off to the side is the herald, very stiff as a trumpet rises up beside him from the man who's at the side, blares once, and says, "Lord Gerhardt of House Jungfreud, Doctor of the University of Altdorf." What are you doing?
Oh, it will be me first. I've got it. Walk up to the eagle.
Uh-huh.
Drop my pants.
Defecate wildly.
Bow. And then wait for questions.
Yeah. As you step forward, and the doors crump.
Oh,
Shut.
what? Oh, no.
No.
Do this.
It's not too late to run.
Finally does, right? We can...
As,
You just at the door.
fuck. As the guard who's on the outside looks out and looks at you and goes, "Oh dear." That's all he says.
Is that bad?
He says, "Lord, it's not often they do secret sessions."
I thought we'd all go in together.
The hall is empty except for you and the 15 electors.
But you've got 17.
I've got my own too.
You can do
So,
it. You were born for this.
Yeah.
let's quickly give an idea. Big round table.
Yeah.
In the center of the table is a great imperial eagle spread right out with KF on it, and underneath it Rex, suggesting he's a king.
Wow.
All the way around we have our electors. So directly opposite is the emperor. To either side of him, Sigmar and Sigmar. Yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you ready? Okay, let's go around the table that way. So we're going to go around clockwise from the emperor.
Okay,
Okay, so that starts with the Grand Theogenist.
Do a dodge.
The Grand Theogenist Jory. Now, the Grand Theogenist is a man in his, you'd guess, 50s, somewhere around about that area. He is dressed somewhat simply, almost as a normal priest of Sigmar. Not with the great jade griffin spread across his chest or anything similar. He's just dressed in black robes of the Order of the Torch, the edging of which is banded in gold. He does have a small, let's say, nod to the fact he has some rank, and that he has an ermine pelt across his shoulder.
Thanks.
That's the Grand Theogenist. Next to the Grand Theogenist, we have the Archlector Aglum. Archlector Aglum's much older, in his 70s, a heavy jowled face with hair pushed off to one side. Unlike the Grand Theogenist, he is very well presented. Very well presented. His Order of the Torch robes are silk. He is very comfortable in his heavily upholstered chair, but that's probably because he's very old and he needs to be. And he's leaning back. Oops, sorry, Rob. He's leaning back in his almost throne-like chair, looking at you with a certain amount of disdain.
Yeah.
Sitting next to him is, and planted behind him are, the banners of Ostland, black and white with a red bull in the centre of it, Hans Hals. Elector Count Hans Hals. He's in his 60s, you guess, an old man with grey hair around his jowls. For all he's old, he's got big, thick arms, and he's very much of the... Type, just look at you. Next round the table, we have someone who's very different, a mere 15-year-old, a kid. Pardon?
Sterland?
That's right, Sterland. Hey, you're getting it there, Sterland. He's wearing green and yellow, and he has his green velvet cloak on, and he's sitting with his shoulders in tight, looking really unsure about everything. He sees you come in, watches you come in, and looks at everyone else to see what they're doing, and sees that they're all looking at you, so goes back to looking at you again. That's clearly the thing that's supposed to be happening. He has a small pair of spectacles sitting upon his nose.
Nerd.
Sure, he's a nerd. Let's go with that.
What's his name?
That's Haupt Anderson. So that's Albrecht, I think? Yes, Albrecht.
Albrecht Anderson.
Oh, yeah, Haupt Anderson.
Albrecht.
Oh, yeah, that's just his house. You don't need to know his house name. He's Albrecht.
Okay.
Next, we have Countess Manuel. She is dressed in black, tip to toe. And in Reichland finery, not in southern Nullner finery. She has decided to don the local clothing. Her neck is completely covered and it splays outwards and ends with diamonds and a big ruff all around. Her golden hair all tied up and pulled up above with a small cannon sitting at the top of it.
Does it work?
You'd have to find out.
Oh, I hope it does.
Yeah, does she have a working cannon? She has one leg sitting over the other, with both of her hands, her fingernails painted black on the table. As she looks out in front of her, there's a pile of paper. She's the only one who's got papers in front of her. A small quill off towards the side as she is looking over in your direction. And she is as beautiful as literally everything had told you she might be. Because, hey, she has too many points in appearance. Moving around the table, we then hit, I think it's the Elder of the Moot. There he is. He's got his pipe out and there's small clouds of smoke coming from him. He's sitting with his feet swinging because they don't reach the ground in his big chair. And he's just sitting there with his hand on his belly where he's got a waistcoat on. And his big hairy feet hanging down.
He's
just,
laughing, yeah.
Oh, yeah. As he's just sitting there with his pipe and he looks over here and he's the only one who speaks as you come in. And as he goes, help. No one else says anything. Help. As you make your way in. He says, you know, Ren, right almost beside you is the next one because we're now halfway around the table.
Good.
And that's Talabheim. Duchess Elise. Now, Duchess Elise is almost the diametric opposite of the Countess in that she is not overdressed. She is not ridiculously beautiful. She is not holding court and taking notes. If anything, she's a relatively dowdy, middle-aged woman who's sitting with her arms folded, her hair's up in a bun, and she's just looking over at you as you come in. Then, upon seeing you, looks over at Karl Franz, and then looks back at you. She seems to be as confused and bemused about this situation as possibly you are. We then skip where you are, sitting directly looking into the table, and move around the table one more, over towards Sudenland. Toppenheimer. Or Grand Duchess Etelka, if you wish. Although if anyone calls her Etelka, she knows she's on official business. She prefers Molly. It's well known across many parts of the Empire where you're from, because she often heads up into Nuln. Although that's no longer the case, because Nuln and her have problems. She has her arms folded. She's a woman who's probably, well, Etelka's she's probably in her, what, about 40s, 50s, somewhere around there, you think? And she is frowning. Look, I am too. She's old. To him, she's ancient. And she's saying she is a stocky woman. She's thick of arm, thick of body, big of breast, and she looks like she could probably barrel through a dwarf. And she just sits there, frowning, not at all happy with anything, as you realise that most of her frowns are obviously not sent towards you. They're towards the woman in black at the other side of the table, who she is not looking at all. Pointedly. Looking at everything else. But next we have the Talabiclanders. Everybody's here. Gustav. He's a young man. He's 22. He's got a small pointy beard, and he has his hands clasped together as you come in, sees you, and a slight smile crosses his face. You have to say, nice. Oh, good. A doctor.
What an idiot.
Oh, right. Got you. Yeah. That sounds great. Next along, we have Karlberg, Middenland, in truth. Grand Duke Leopold. He has his arms folded. He's in his mid-40s. And he's frowning. And he looks over at Karl Franz, and it's clear. You don't even need to have a talent of empathy or something similar to have the, what the fuck is going on, mate? Look in his face as he then looks back again. Yes.
But is he wearing his rune sword?
We'll get to the rune swords in a moment.
Oh.
Next we have Aberland.
They report elsewhere.
The very old Countess Ludmilla. Ludmilla. She's almost 80 years old. She has a pair of spectacles, round and small on her wrinkled nose, and her hair is up in a white bun. She, however, is wearing, out of everyone here, the most elaborate dress. Yeah. By far. It's yellow and black with spiraling butterflies coming off of its collar, which, whenever she moves, jingle. Her hands are wizened and covered with long ruffs as she looks over towards you, and her long pointed nose sniffs slightly in your direction. Next around, we have our Elrich. Our Elrich with long white hair hanging down almost to his middle. When you come in, his mouth opens and his teeth are like a frickin' vampire sharp, as he has his hands on the table and both of them are clawed. On his shoulders, a big, heavy white wolf, the head of which sits on the arm of his throne and is too big. His hand could sit over it, but he's got it in front to the side. It's to his side of him. And the pelt flows down and goes back behind Ludmilla and the next chair and the next.
What a beast.
Wow.
Got lore theology?
I don't think so.
Yep, we're done there. And then finally we get all the way around to Caslane, Arch-Elector Caslane, whose hair is thinning on the top, Sigmar again. I'm sitting to either side.
I think you've missed someone.
There's
You-
two
Have I just missed two?
Electors.
Boris.
So you've missed Boris.
Oh, I missed Boris.
Middenheim and Ostland.
And after Middenland, we go Middenheim. Sorry, Boris is there. How could I miss
Okay, so
Boris?
he's before
That's just-
Aberland.
Yeah, so he's before Aberland.
See, my chart had him next to Karl Franz, and I was like,
Uh-oh! Yeah, no.
Interesting.
He's sitting right in the middle
And you
spot.
missed Ostland too.
No, I don't think I missed Oslo.
No.
Tasnik was number 3.
Before Stirland.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was an arch lector. I got
No, no, no.
I got distracted.
Oh, I can't believe I missed Boris. Just embarrassing.
well, we assumed we hadn't got to him.
Yeah, totally.
So-
Boris is sitting.
Messed up my chart.
His heel
Mine's all
jiggling.
Mine's work.
Yeah,
Mine-
sorry. Yeah, I
mine's
ruined it
digital.
all. It's digital. Hey, his heel tapping constantly on the ground. The only clear sound in here, his leaning forward and looking, his beard pointed out, his auburn hair pulled back, scraped, and he looks ready for business. Each one of them with a rune fang has it in the back of their throne. And that's
like slotted in.
yeah.
that's
And
cool.
that's
really cool.
all of them with one, which is everyone bar his mate and the clerics.
Right.
And they all have their blades here, all sheathed into the back of their throats. Yeah, so no boom, 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 barrage of runes. And each one of these hilts is completely different. Each one of them has got its own unique carvings. And no, they don't fit together like Voltron.
It's like,
Or do they?
it's like a cloud sword to the end of Advent Children.
As the gathered group look round, Boris taps backwards and forwards like so. And Karl Franz says, "Thank you for agreeing to join us, Doctor," he says. "Before I ask you to give testimony," he says, "I would ask that the Elector Count of Middenheim agree that this is a man of standing whose word can be trusted." Boris looks. You can see his face twists with a small amount of crap. Because, yeah, he's going to say that. And you can see it on his face as he goes, Aye, this is a man that I trust." Good. And the Countess speaks up. "Really? What is this about, Karl Franz?" Says, "We don't have time for this. There are real matters to discuss." And then immediately from across on the other side, Morella, Etelp, leans forward and says, "Yes, there's a lot of things we should probably be talking about, isn't there, Emmy? But get your hands off my land! I thought you were helping!" Karl Franz puts up his hand and says, "Please, as much as this is important to discuss, what is about to be revealed might explain some of our issues." And Boris folds his arms and says, "He's no wrong." The Emperor sits back. Behind him, the hilt of his rune fang sits above his throne.
Can we hear this outside?
Nope.
Can Lurchel hear this?
Is it like
Oh.
hearable or is it?
Nope. Nope. As he gets up and he walks around behind the throne. And you hear it. Gomeros!
Yeah.
And bath!
I was.
It hits you. You obviously don't know.
I know. Andy was prepared. Leopold was not.
And it hits. Endurance test.
Judge.
Yeah, make a scene. So we don't have
Oh,
to
I crit it.
Sweet.
Oh, nice.
Tonk. And you don't move.
Just bounces
It
off.
hits you. It hits you. It hits you and you don't move.
Oh.
Outside, inside,
No, it's not.
no.
'Cause that means the one.
Uh-huh.
No.
he comes round with Galmaraz in his hands. The Warhammer.
Wow.
And he places it on the throne behind him.
Question for you, because I was pondering this earlier. Does it, in the same way that we thought Boris, when he was holding Peak Leveler, was being able to basically be more sustained right after the explosion? Like there was the whole point of like him holding it made him seem almost healthier, or at least like kept him together. Does that appear to be happening here?
Do you have empathy?
No.
He was told by
That
Flatstaff.
was obvious, wasn't it?
I think we all.
From a medical perspective.
Skill set.
I'll let you do lore. I'll let you do a perception test.
No, could be good.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
6 successes.
6 successes.
6 people.
He's like, nice, chill.
You're unsure.
Oh, great. Okay.
As he places it down, he looks around the table I have heard, to everyone, terrible things. And they were brought to me by this man. He points forward, towards. Everyone else sniggers. Towards Gerhardt. This man. Whose house was attacked by the Imperial household at the beginning of the year. Before we begin with what he is going to tell you all, and off to the side, our Elrich says, "Will you hurry up? We don't have all bloody day. We have things that we need to do, Emperor." Your Royal Highness, if you're being appropriate, he says, "It's the people's all I'm people." He says, "And so are fucking you." "Please, Emil." He says, "Oh, Emil, is it?" He says as he folds his arms. "You mean I do, Father?" I have something I have to tell you all. I remember nothing of the last year. Now all faces are turned towards his. Nothing. I have no memory, no recall, no awareness of anything I have done for the last year. Since the turn of the year, in fact. Everyone's kind of quiet. Except for our Ulrich. Why? Well, that is why we have summoned this man. He is the doctor that got me out of the fugue, who diagnosed what was wrong with me and ensured that his own master was brought to the palace to provide additional support. Says, if it was not for this man, he says, I would be dead. I would not be able to tell you here now about the danger that we face. Says, this man is already a decorated hero of Middenheim. A hero of Middenheim for the services that he did to the royal house of Todbringer. And now he does the same for the royal house and imperial house of Holzwig-Schliesten. He says, I have some questions to ask of you, Doctor. And stands leaning on his throne beside the Warhammer that is lying like it's the Emperor in the throne. And looks over at you. You swear by Almighty Sigma and by the threat of the judgment of Verena to tell the truth before us today.
Yes. Your Highness. Your Imperial Highness. I would know.
He would know.
I would know.
Oh, you know what? You would know. But, you know, I'll do a cool test for you just to see if you do it right or not. It's difficulty. It's difficulty. Oh, you're just on. I was going to say difficulty 4. You passed by 1.
Because you're such an absent-minded genius.
Yes, your Imperial Highness.
Yes, Carl.
You boy! Silly bugger.
Can you please tell everyone the disease that I was suffering from?
It is called purple brain fever.
And can you please tell the people here where the source of that particular fever was most likely to have come from?
I believe it was created by the ruinous powers. Administered by cultists working on their behalf.
In fact, you can go further. Probably a demon. You're only aware of one that could do it.
A demon! Just dramatic pause.
A demon! Yeah, that was good. That was
And
good. I
it's-
like it. Lovely.
Sir. Remember, sir.
So
As over to the side, the very old Caslin looks up and goes, "That's the Archlector." Well, if he has been consorting with demons, as he turns around and looks towards the Grand Theogenist, we should ensure that, as the Emperor says, do be quiet, please. What? Says, this man, he says, is, well, actually, summon the High Father.
You've got this.
As the doors open.
We're all like got our hands in.
We're all leaning against it.
I have to hope Gerhard is still standing by the eagle.
He's standing on it.
Otherwise, I won't know where to stop.
Where Gerhard is, fortunately.
Into the table.
I will walk in,
I mean, you
stop.
see.
Well, wait.
Yet to be announced.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Someone's holding you back. Yo, you don't know it's you yet.
Yeah.
Quiet.
That's good, but I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
hear.
didn't hear.
As you hear, High Father Leopold of the Order of the Silver Flame in Midnight. As you're like, and away you go. As you make your way forward, and clunk, the doors shut behind you.
Seen any good plays recently?
We have already told you who's in here. On his throne at the opposite side is Karl Franz, standing beside it, and the Elector Counts, plus the clerics at the far end, and of course, Hisme off towards, currently, you're right.
Do you have to touch an artifact to detect artifacts on it?
I do.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And
Just
you
grab his
stop.
hammer. Just grab it.
I didn't run.
Oh, I'm a blind old man. I don't know where I am.
Where
Oh.
is the eagle?
Or it's Shadow Leopold again. Ha! Yoink!
Bloody hell.
I don't know.
As you arrive, Gerhard, will you help him into place, given he's blind?
yeah.
Stop here. Nice. As the Emperor goes, I would like, he says, to take a moment for you to recognize what I am about to say. This man claims to be, and he pauses, and immediately off to the side, Caslin says, it's just nonsense, isn't it? He says, bloody northern sects and the silly nonsense.
Do it. Do a miracle.
Do it.
I'm not doing a miracle. He's going to say the question.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you have your prophecy.
Yeah. Get ready for
It's
Sigmar to
nonsense.
speak.
You can bout prophecy! You have the
wait.
talent! You bought it today!
He did say
Maybe
it's
wait.
nonsense, isn't it? Which is
It's
a
actually a question.
Sigmar comes through.
Lawyered.
Fuck you.
I mean, that does feel like something that you might.
Would you
want to
rather
consider.
keep the question for something that might be important
Yeah.
someone says when you're in the room, or would you like to
Yeah.
prophesy?
I also no. I'm also not. I don't think.
You're
Karl
not
Franz.
bothered.
I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
I don't need
totally.
to prove myself.
Bothered?
Who's this guy?
I'm a bothered.
Camera.
As and Karl Franz says, whatever the truth of his individual beliefs, he says to the Archlector, is of little difference to the fact that he is certainly blessed by Sigmar, our protector. He says, divine protector and founder of our emperor, who I, of course, represent. Grand Theogenist gives nothing to this. Neither do the Electors. The Elector on the other side says, looks over, looks at you. You're blind. That's Aglim, who says, interesting. You're blind. I saw you at our synod at the beginning of the year. I saw you, he says. And realize that Caslin goes, and? That's it. I saw him. He says, as our Ulrich looks up and says, "Will you shut up so we can get on with what we have to do?" He says. Folds his arms. "Patience," he says, "is certainly a virtue you do not seem to share with me." He says, "No. I barely even think your god's a god in first place, so I would have patience with what you have to say." He says, "Yes, well, of course." As he looks over and pats his white wolf on the head, like so.
He
Very
has
good.
lore theology, though.
Yeah, you do have lore theology. Sadly, you can't see it.
Unless it's
Lore theology. Thank you.
It's a pass, but it's like the barest 0-1.
It's a wolf.
Yeah,
It's a white
what
wolf
you'll pull
beat,
from
it
that
could be
is,
holy.
he almost certainly killed it himself.
Yeah.
With his bare hands and no weapons.
holy fuck.
Bare claws and no weapons, but whatever. As the Emperor says, "Please." Please. "Holy Father," he says, "you have been in the company of the Doctor. Do you believe he is unduly influenced by the ruinous powers?"
No, Imperial Majesty.
Good.
It was a short time.
They are seeking to undermine the Empire by rendering me weak. And that is your belief, yes?
It is, I believe, yes.
Over to you.
Sir.
Absent-minded genius. He's the worst.
We're all people.
It's his natural rhythm to have dramatic pauses in his sentences.
They don't know.
And upwards inflections.
He gets on with it. He's Ranald's honor. Ranald's honor. Everyone just goes, "Yeah, well, whatever." As he goes, "Tell me what you discovered under Altdorf." Tell me what you discovered under Altdorf, Doctor.
We discovered a device that was used to create copies of peoples, and within those copies, place the minds of other creatures into said copies.
He looks around the room. It's fair to say that they don't look entirely impressed. It sounds like nonsense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
You believe it.
What I've just said, yes, absolutely.
As he starts walking around the back of the Electors down one side, passing by the two Sigmarite Electors to his left, moving over. As he says, "Yes, to make sure that you all understand what that means," as he continues walking by Osland. "There are creatures beneath this city that have been trying to use magic to duplicate us, to create doubles, and to capture our minds. How can we even be sure you're you then? Yeah?" Says Elrich. "How indeed. And I think the same applies to yourself, sir." As he continues walking round. "Hi, Father. Is this true?"
Yes, sir.
"Hi, Father. Why do you think that you are of sound mind when it comes to this?" As he stops behind Emmanuel's throne and leans on it. She looks up at him as if to say, "What are you doing?" And then looks back over towards you.
I am the chosen oracle of Sigmar.
Says Casley. Over to one side. Grand Theogenist says nothing. What makes you say that? Says Aglin as he looks over towards you.
I hear his voice, revered holiness. I speak his words.
He's likely mad. He says.
His visions have led me right, revered holiness. His visions led me the path that was required to save the Grand Duke of Middenheim.
Middenheim says, all right. All right. All right. All right. He's right on that. And he points out, he's right on that. Speaking directly down to Aglin, over Elrich on the other side of him. Ah! You don't even trust your own cultists, eh? And he folds his arms. Our Elrich goes further, because it's barely even a fucking real cult, and leans on the table in front of him. I'm not surprised you don't believe him. Are we done, Emperor? Oh no, we are not done yet. They tried to make a double. The Grand Duke of Middenheim. And this fellow, as if you were responsible for it, got through to the heart of it.
How are we going to get his head back through the doorway afterwards?
I made this.
Because of his input and interference, even when it wasn't wanted, he says, guided, of course, by Sigma. They saved the Lords of the North, he says, and starts walking around. Yet still, trouble besets our empire. As he walks round, and then passed by you, until he stops behind Sudenland. Besets our empire, from many sides, looking directly over at the Countess. Who can say as to what is or what is not an elect account in these troubled times? She looks at him and she says, if you have something you wish to accuse me of, then say it to my face. Now, I would never accuse you of such things directly. And he continues walking round. Colin the elf.
Colin,
You can do this.
Colin is Alan's brother.
You are a princess.
You don't know. This is not a pep talk.
Yeah, we don't know. We're just
You don't know. As you're all waiting in the
It's
first
never going to be me now.
Owns
I'm
up.
going to be last.
And out comes the call. Princess Alamenowithe! The Witch of the Wood.
Oh,
Fuck it.
I've gone right off that guy.
As this happens from the Sigmarites, all of whom straighten, our Ulrich.
Boris must be freaked out.
Our Ulrich does this. Boris goes. And literally double takes it. As the realization of what's being said hits him.
we'll be fine.
And he starts mouthing under his breath. And then looks back down as you glide in. Ahead of you, you can see the standing figures of your good pal Gerhardt. And of course, your good pal Leopold.
I shall walk up to the eagle
As
emperor.
the Emperor moves all the way back round to his throne again and goes, Princess Alamenowithe, I am delighted that you could spare some time for us. And he smiles. Her Royal Highness, And he nods over towards Boris. You are aware of Princess Alamanawai? Yes, says. And she was also responsible for saving your life. Yes. Yes, of course. Princess Alamanawai. Do please explain to the electors what happened with His Royal Highness's daughter.
His Royal Highness's daughter, Your Imperial Highness, was sent to Castle Mole for her safety. There she was taken by the creatures that reside under Altdorf, along with many of her people, and they were taken to Altdorf. She was duplicated, her mind was put in the duplicate, and she was sent back to Middenheim. She then agreed.
The Emperor looks around at reactions. Everyone's just got watching. What the fuck?
She then agreed to a marriage to Sir's heir and travelled south with her father. It was there that the double was murdered by cultists.
Boris.
You could. Technically cultists.
Cultists.
Yeah, cultists.
They were.
There you know.
And he says, good. Who was responsible for it?
They were cultists they were Sigmarites.
Ango says, nonsense. Says the Emperor. But would you mind adding your weight to the veracity of her claims? Says Karl Franz over towards Boris. Boris. I believe her. I thought my daughter was dead. The boy, the young Haupt Anderson, speaks up and says, but how do you even know that it's actually her? How can you be certain? How do you know? How do you know?
We ventured under the streets of Altdorf because we had heard she might be down there. And in fact, the High Father saw it. And we rescued her. The person that we rescued had a continuous line of memory from being taken in Mull, and she was in prison. It is highly unlikely she is not the original Katerina.
But are you certain?
As certain as we can be.
I am as certain as I can be.
Boris folds his arms. Bloody hell. Over at the far end, Atelka of Sudenland says, well, I can't see exactly how this is important. The Emperor looks at her. You have your own problems, I understand. But you must realize at the root of our problems, we have the similar situation where there are attempts to weaken us from within. Or without. And she looks directly over at Emmanuel. And she looks up. I'm sorry, darling. Could you say that louder? From without! I'm sorry. Could you say that louder?
No, don't do it.
As the Emperor puts up his hand and says, please. No, she says, it doesn't please me. So, he says, Her Royal Highness was not killed in the Northern Temple. There was no assassination. What of our Ulrich? And looks over towards Valgir. As he looks up and says, you say my son might be alive? And just looks at you.
I do not know, sir. But I believe our Elrich was killed in the temple. If he had been taken, then when the machine below Altdorf was destroyed, it is likely that
It's been destroyed.
all perished.
Is that what?
Call in the wizard.
What is it?
Is it-
Not to be mistaken for Colin
Calling the
the
L. Double L.
Yeah, there's a caterpillar in here somewhere.
The gates open. Wizard Elrich of the Bright Order.
Vince McMahon swagger.
You coming in? And you make your way up towards where you can see they're all standing still. It's just you two now.
Stop at the eagle.
We start backing quietly
I-
out of the box tower.
The door's shut behind you. Thank you for your time, Wizard Elrich. I understand that your studies are progressing quickly and you are soon to be a magister.
That is indeed my hope, Your Imperial Highness.
Good, he says, and I hope that you achieve your goals swiftly. I apologize again for interrupting your time, but as a wizard, you will best understand that another member of the Orders was responsible for the destruction of a great device beneath the streets of Altdorf. Now, in your estimation, was this destruction complete?
From what I can remember, I was made unconscious from the ramifications of what he did, but the size of the blast surely would have destroyed the equipment. We had experience of one being destroyed in Middenheim, and this was even more powerful than that. Sir.
Lord Magister Grimm of the Grey Order gave his life to destroy this machine. It was witnessed by this wizard, who told me with his own lips that he saw the destruction that was wrought by the spells of Lord Magister Grimm. The machine that they were using to create and control the duplicates was destroyed, along with all of their experiments that they had down there. But that does not mean that the ramifications of their dire work is not still abroad. He says, yes. Can you please call in Princess Ume of Nippon? And the gates open. And then Princess Sumi of House Koishikawa of Nippon. And his eyes tighten.
Ume will squeeze Birdie's hand once before heading in.
Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
If you need it, I will break
As
down
you
that
make
door.
your way in, and you're left alone on the other side.
They all seem to be alive. That's good.
There's several loaded heads from the gathered electors of the Empire on seeing you come.
Head over, bow, etc.
Thank you for your time, Princess, he says. I have a question to ask of you. As a delegate, he says to the gathered room, of the distant land of Nippon, Princess Ume has no personal interest in our politics beyond what she and her family can do to help foster better relations and greater trade. But the dangers involved with that and the time means that it is, although potentially lucrative, a relatively minor point. They are largely here as a cultural exchange. Yet she has seen things that you must be aware about. Princess, if you could please answer as truthfully as you are able to do so. He says, your embassy was destroyed at the beginning of the year, yes?
Yes, Your Imperial Highness.
Who destroyed it?
I was told by a confidant that it was the men of the Reichsguard.
Imperial First Regiment
Imperial
Foot.
First Regiment of Foot.
Yeah, I'll correct you on that one because, yeah, not the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Imperial First Regiment Foot. And you hear, as I said, I have no memory of this. And you do not know who gave the order.
I do not, sir.
How many people in this room have you seen duplicates of?
You weren't swore to truth.
And some
He
of
did
them we
say-
might not know because we didn't know what the electric
Yeah,
counts
yeah.
looked like.
Totally.
So what? So she might recognise some people.
Yeah.
Is the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, do I?
Countess,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boris,
Boris.
Karl Franz,
G-Thog?
Gerhardt.
Gerhard.
You ever see G-Thog?
Don't think so. Oh, we thought we might have seen Grand Theogenes,
We s-
didn't we?
Yeah, we saw Maris Lightdorf of Averland, and we saw
but
King
he's not
Mayor.
here.
He's not in this room.
Tony. Yeah, but somebody from Averland.
That's it.
So 4.
Yeah.
And I think we thought the old man might have been G-Thog until it turned out it was the original caster.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah, we did.
that's
That
right.
was it.
At least 3, sir.
Do please tell the room.
The Grand Duke Boris Tolberger,
Boris leans back. Bloody hell.
the Countess Emmanuel Lax.
Well, I knew. And then he looks over at her. The Countess? Why her?
Oh, sorry.
Countess Emmanuel.
It was Countess Emmanuel. Like, she would have gotten that.
He says, the Countess? Why her? He says, as she looks over at him, why indeed?
And Your Imperial Highness.
Up in the gallery, at the back, you hear a clatter. As the hand raises.
It's Santa Claus.
Leap in front of Boris immediately.
And shuffling up in the higher gallery. You'll catch that as well, Alan.
Make it really obvious that he hears something. Because I can't speak, but
As he moves over and he picks up the hammer. It doesn't go. He picks it up and he sits back down and he puts the hammer across his knees and says, me, Boris, the Countess, and look at where the trouble in our empire lies. As far as I can discern, the only reason that I was not replaced is because another party was attempting to control me. A different party that were keeping these creatures below away from me. But I can't be certain the same can be the case for Your Royal Highness, he says, nodding towards Countess Emmanuel, or Your Royal Highness, he says, pointing towards Graf Boris. But I can say with some certainty that Her Royal Highness recently had, and he then moves over towards you, nods in your direction, not that you're entirely certain, and goes,
I'm
Father.
still like
Yeah.
visibly looking like I'm listening for something.
Yeah,
like I'm on
but you're
high
blind. He just assumes you're daft. As he goes, hi, Father. He says, you recently destroyed a significant concentration of cultists of this purple hand in Null who was seeking to replace the Countess. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was failed. They didn't even manage to make their attempt, so we have no way of being certain that the second party did not succeed. This is ridiculous, she says as she folds her arms. It may be, but we need to know. Out where you are, the Crown Prince.
Oh, God.
Comes waddling up.
Why?
With his chin pulled right in.
Oh, God.
All of them. As he looks at you and says, "No, this is ridiculous. That's not my uncle." And bursts open the door.
Fuck.
And waddles in. Stop! Stop! This is ridiculous! Stop! Stop, I say! The Imperial Herald.
You could do it. Who was that?
All 6 of us.
I mean, what I could do is I could
Really
turn around and
Yeah.
flail with a backhand when it's there, but I suspect that still would end badly.
Yeah.
The Imperial Herald goes, His Royal Highness Crown Prince, oh gods. He says, House Governor, like that, as he goes by, and he says, that was pathetic. As he says, Uncle, you're not my uncle. Like that. Leaving the doors open with you looking in going,
I'm getting ready just in case. I'm the only one armed, ready to roll.
No,
Is it
no arms.
still-
No arms. No arms
Not
allowed.
even holy ones.
No, not even holy ones. No arms allowed. So
Raise what I
armless.
can
I mean, there's
conceal
plenty of
my-
rune fangs around. Like,
there
Yeah, exactly, plenty of
are a
weapons.
lot of rune fangs in that room.
Borrow this from
Yeah, it'll be fine. Just draw one of
I've
those.
got a really
There's
beautiful
never been a
hair
problem
ornament.
with drawing a rune fang ever, so it'll be good.
but we've never
Um,
drawn a genuine one. So.
Quite. As he comes in, waddles over and says, "You're not acting like yourself." He says, "You're just not. I know because I have seen you and how you act, and this isn't it." He says, "You're the imposter." He says, "You even admitted it yourself." He folds his arms. "Where's your mother?" He goes, "Piff, poff, and poffle. I was listening in." He says, "This is just rubbish." He says, "I should be emperor. You're probably dead already. You're just a double of those things. That's what you are. That's all you are. And I know." As his body ripples. "Because you said it was all right to be a mutant." As a huge arm bubbles out and an eye pops, and 3 come out. And 1 pops out and eye stalked. And another pops out and eye stalk in that direction. This hand rolls out as a claw. As he says, "You said it's fine, I'm legal! I'm the Emperor!" It's fair to say there's some reaction to that. Yeah, it's fair to say. However, let's go through from the lowest initiative up. So those who've got the highest initiative can see others reacting before they react themselves. You know how it is.
So
And right down to the very bottom, how does Gerhard react to that?
Now might be a good time to claim fast.
You need to
You need to
It's all the right.
Oh no.
And he's legal. Like
100%.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, 100% legal.
Like seriously, what do I do?
Yeah, totally. I'm backing away, not today.
Yeah.
Disco lady. Sounds good. Elrich.
Take my place.
channeling.
Channeling. Okay, channel yourself up. Do yourself channeling test. Moving over to our dooming.
Is there any chance I could have snuck my sword in?
No,
Okay.
no, too
Is
big.
your fan not an ornament?
That's not a fan. It's a war fan. No.
What about the other one?
It's cultural.
How dare you?
You might go for that one. Yeah.
Pickle fan.
Yeah.
Your little sharp fan.
Just,
So you're staying where you are. You're moving away from it. It's currently not that far away from you. It's like 2 paces away. It's pretty close. It came up behind you, and it really likes you.
Get away!
I knew my instincts were correct.
We should have killed him.
I think in addition to, I think Elric would have stepped towards him. I think he would have potentially.
Yeah, protectively, like that. Love that.
Clarification.
What are you doing?
Boris.
I will
It's okay. You can
move towards
protect him too.
the back of the fighting people. but
Okay,
I
good. So
will
move
have
behind.
my
So
hand ready.
The question is, are you going off towards the, that'll be the Talabik land side, I think, land. Talapime side there, and on the other side it'll be the Sudanland side.
Should you go,
Which
if you're
way you
facing the
backing
table, you're going left or right?
Left or right, exactly.
The door was to our right.
Door's
Right
behind us.
behind you.
Behind.
Yeah, right behind you.
I've gone left.
I would like to go left as well. I feel
Okay,
better
cool.
with Boris.
So you're moving off towards the Boris side, past Toppenheimer. Sounds
I
good.
don't know if I have
Hey,
time
father.
to move that far.
There you go. In terms of like a,
Where's the emperor?
in terms of
He's on the opposite side
at
over
his
by his
throne.
throne.
Okay.
in terms of a delay, can you still do a free action and delay?
During part of the delay, can you do a free action?
Oh no, can I do a free action and delay my main action?
No. You can do your free action during your action.
Delay action.
Yeah.
But if you do that, then you can't move.
Or you can move, but you don't
But
do
you
the
can't
other
do
thing.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
So fuck
One or
that.
the other.
I will move to be shoulder to shoulder with Elrich.
Okay, love it.
And
Well,
I
shoulder to head.
I will move to loom over Elrich. And I will invoke a miracle, I think.
I love it. As he starts bellowing prayers to Sigmar. Which ones are they?
Nothing hostile, nothing, but I will become a beacon of virtue to bring bravery to everyone in this place.
Sounds good. As he bellows out his prayers.
And unless there's anything
Super.
adverse stopping
Oh,
me,
no,
I
no,
have
no,
successfully become a beacon of virtue.
Okay, cool. And then heading over around towards. That's what you see out there. As you see him. And you see them already beginning to move.
Standing near me are guards.
2 guards looking in towards where you are. They won't. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I borrow one of these? And ask if I can borrow one of
Okay,
their
do yourself a
weapons.
leadership test.
And I do have attractive too, if that helps. 2
That's a charm.
successes.
That's enough. That's charm,
Yeah.
not leadership. Okay, but they just as a little fuck. Donk, you've got it.
Okay.
As you're doing what?
Well,
Big halberd.
I am tasked as a Knight's Panther to protect Boris,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to run him through.
Oh,
or
maybe you're intending on moving round to where Boris is to protect him.
I'm going to
Yeah,
walk
makes
in.
sense. Love it.
Just a nice
At the top of our characters, what are you doing?
Hold on.
I think I'm gonna get in between the creature and Boris as well, actually. Katrina wouldn't forgive me if her dad died.
Okay, so
But no one's protecting that
The right side of the table is like,
of
fuck
the
you
table.
guys.
The
Oh, are we not,
countess
like,
is on the
sorry,
right.
But we're cutting them off at the pass.
yeah,
They're
absolutely.
cutting them off at the pads. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go to Boris.
Right.
We've shown them our allegiance.
Yeah, Boris technically still is.
Let's go round our
a brother
table.
of ours, right?
The right
Yeah.
side is not a strong side, though.
Right at the very top, Karl Franz, who's now sitting on his throne, looks with abject horror at what is unfolding in front of him.
Yes.
It's fair to say that this is not how he expected to be spending the afternoon, looking at the heir to the Empire turning into a giant, mutated monstrosity before his very eyes.
I'm assuming he knows that he signed an edict making mutants legal.
No.
Yeah, he knows everything.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
yes.
told him.
Oh,
Yeah,
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 but he doesn't remember doing it.
But
Yeah,
I'm gonna
quite.
do a charm test on the mutant.
Okay, right,
I'm
you're
gonna charm
too
them.
late for that. You've already done your thing.
Hey.
Moving down,
We should
the
have
Grand
brought
Theogenist scrapes back and looks at Karl Franz, as if to say, "What the fuck?" On the other side, Caslin does this. Pretty much the sum total of everything that he manages to do.
My cult are a constant source of embarrassment.
They really are.
Like, they really are.
Hand Howls of
Have you
Ostland
it already?
sees that, goes, "Oh dear," and stands up and backs up behind his throne, putting his hand on his own blade.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
My kind of electric gang.
Right side, go.
Sterland ducks under the table.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Reasonable.
Nerd.
That's the rune fact to go for.
Yeah, that's fine.
No,
No.
I'm lining up the old ladies one.
Noel does this. A slight smile on her face as she looks over towards Karl Franz.
Well, I was hoping.
Next, his face stout heart goes, "Oh boy, heck," and ducks down and pulls his hat down over his head. Because that will help.
Smokes.
Who do we have next? Next is Talabime, I think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Elise, seeing that quite there, will, no, back off.
There's a rune fang.
Atelka, does this,
Yeah, nice.
like this, holding it in front of her face,
That's top
like
line,
so,
right?
Yeah.
and it hits you. Weapons on! Whack! Really close. Cool test, difficulty 15.
15? So
Jesus.
any bonus for having created the last one?
Birdies
No,
inside.
different weapon.
I'm nearby now.
The same
You
rune
can
though?
see me.
No.
You
No.
can see me, so you get +2.
+2, and I have now got the.
See me.
Like, you're going to need to crit it.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to
All the
crit it.
time.
I'm ready to crit it. It's a fucking crit! Fucking crit, baby!
There's only 4 of those. and it's getting drawn.
And so it's currently 5 successes,
+2, 7.
plus another 8.
Yeah.
15? And plus more than that, because some of my talents might add as well.
Yeah.
Iron Will, Stout Heart, and stuff.
Hearts.
As the power of the runes so close wallops you, and you just feel as the words of Sigmar thrum through you.
Hey.
100 XP.
Oh, well done.
Definitely 15.
Yeah.
It's like a golf shot.
Krieglitz of Talabheim, Talabek Land, pardon me. Talabek Land scrapes his throne back as if to go, what's going on here? Without really doing anything beyond that. Next we have, our man,
Caraberg.
Bildhofen. Bildhofen just grabs his sword and, pulls it out, but you critted. Okay, Braktuki as it hits. It's a blade you've heard before.
Yes.
Okay, difficulty 1 on the cool test. Funny if you
Well, you get
fumbled it.
2 plus. I got with yeah.
Braktuki Wallop as it hits. As he moves round,
Solid as a rock
Yeah.
next to you.
Boris looks down. Fucking hell.
I've seen this one too.
Fucking hell. And he's just shaking his head, looking down, and he looks at Carl Franz. Fucking hell. As if to say, there's no way you didn't know. This is your nephew. The one that you declared as heir long before you lost your memories.
How long before? Like
A year.
a year before.
Yeah.
That's say about his own son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he looks over at him, and he's just like, fucking hell.
I mean, it's possible.
Ulrich.
Mutated later.
Yeah.
Our Ulrich
Warpstone.
grabs
Might not be the
Boris is.
peak level,
Oh no.
yanks it
Oh,
out.
that's not good.
That's just rude.
Now I've seen peak level.
Karat Morna.
I've seen this one drawn before, so
Yeah,
just
difficulty 1.
one. Yep, we're good.
Yeah, 3.
As finally we arrive at the last of our Sigmarites, who looks up.
Have we missed
Our
Miller?
Oh,
Albtram.
she's just going to sit and curl up in her chair. Yeah, thank you very much. Don't want to miss Averland. She's just before Ulrich.
Draw your rune fang.
And now we hit Sigmar, who just killed you. He sort of half says over towards the Grand Theogist.
Bad vibes here. Who am I stabbing?
It's a good question.
No.
As it says, "You've always known!" Down towards Karl Franz. Karl Franz. And Boris, as it all goes tense, you're channeling, says,
I'm glowing like a fucking torch.
Yeah.
"Of you now." Holding the enormous Midland blade. Our Ulrich just sitting there, looking at the Emperor.
Middenheim.
Looking at. Pardon? I said
Middenheim.
Midnight. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Midnight blade, just looking.
Just in case it's pertinent, if anyone in the room happens to be an enemy of Sigmar, I am causing fear in them just now. So, just in case.
Sounds good.
Has anybody weapons?
It's only fear 1, so
Yeah.
probably not, but, you know, they might fumble.
Yeah.
Also, they might not
You
be
just
enemies of
tell
Sigmar.
it.
Couple of dabs. Like,
As our Ulrich says, This is what your cult stands for. Speaking directly towards the Grand Theogonist. And he looks up at Karl Franz. And down there, you're a corpy! A corpy! Karl Franz stands up, holding his hammer. I might be, he says. I shouldn't have allowed that. Wolfgang is crying. He says, I know the Emperor! He says, Animals! You said I could be! You said! He says, I shouldn't have listened to your mother. And our Ulrich goes for the Emperor.
Whoa!
He might not succeed.
How can I intervene?
You are not between our Ulrich and the Emperor. You're between...
He's after Boris.
Yeah. You're between Boris
But
and
she
the other
does have
side.
a long reach
There's a
weapon.
pole
Yeah, I do have a pole arm.
Reach across 20 foot.
Yeah, it's not that big a pole arm.
Or you can step on the wolf pelt.
That is
We are- We are broadly fine.
She is within range of the wolf pelt, though.
Yeah.
Trip him up on the way.
Oh no, he's out the wolf pelt.
Oh,
the wolf
Had it-
pelt's
had
all
it just
wrapped.
down.
Yeah, it's all wrapped around the throne.
I
He's up
should
and
have
out.
done his cloak.
Yeah, well, it sort of was when he was in it, but then he was out of it. Yeah, yeah. That would have been funny though.
That would've been-
As he just swings for the Emperor. The Emperor,
Does he have his own room?
he
stole
yanked,
Boris's.
peak level.
he
He
took peak
literally
level
pulled
around.
Boris's out.
But Boris is just sitting there looking at them going,
I thought Boris drew.
no, he
No,
Boris didn't.
our Ulrich yoinked it. Yoink!
As,
Good. Guys,
as Karl Franz, although in a weakened state, isn't that slow, pulls his hammer round, and peak leveler goes through it,
Yeah.
shattering it.
Oh, good
Real
lord.
underneath.
Pieces fly everywhere as the golden hammer breaks. The runes on it flash blue and then turn blood red as symbols of corn fall apart out of it, and a roar howls as
Yeah.
whatever was inside it is released. All the runes in every blade around the room immediately light up. All of them
Red or blue?
in blue.
It's happening. They're coming together.
Okay, as they all go, and Karl Franz falls back. He's not blasted by any magical power. It's nothing more than his utter horror and shock at what he sees as he blasts backwards. And our Ulrich looms over him and said, "Told you your god was a lie! Even your hammer's a lie." And he turns round and he goes,
This feels like a good time
Yeah,
to insert
this
some
is-
prophecy into the action.
"Yes, prophecy! Go for it!"
Preferably dark.
Sigmar says, "Hi."
Oh, it's not another crit, but it is a pass.
As he immediately bellows out, "The hammer is a lie!" As our Ulrich turns round, "We best get the fuck out of here, Boris." He says, "We best get the fuck out of here." Boris says, "You're probably right." As he looks around the room, "You're probably right." The Countess stands up and says, "I'm delighted for your company." Karl Franz says, "But I have a feeling there's going to be many declarations of war very soon." He says, and curtsies, "Good afternoon," and makes her way round. The big mutant collapses back. "My throne. You didn't kill him!" And runs out of the Volkshalle. Pelts out, almost on all fours, his eyes dragging behind him on the ground.
Oh, Jesus.
As he
Sorry, say
turns
that.
around the corner and his long eye stalk's eyes whip against the wall and bash as he runs off down there. And the guards are like this.
They are not good guards.
Well, he's away then.
I don't entirely blame him. That is disgusting.
The most important people in the Empire, and you've got fucking Bill and Ben there, just like, oh yeah, this is great.
The Herald didn't even announce the
Bill and Ben,
that's true.
one of whom doesn't have a weapon, but he does have a sword that he didn't draw. He's too busy to go. As he pelts it off down, and the conclave comes to an end.